Well, he's figured out that childproof door. Great.
Have you not learnt yet? No door is childproof.
We have the little spinny handle things on there, and
Yeah, no door is childproof. I don't know what you're thinking.
I was hoping more than anything else, actually.
Exactly.
Welcome to Two Titans and a Hunter, a Destiny 2 podcast. Dedicated in bringing you all the latest information, news, and opinions. This is the best show for new and veteran Guardians alike, where we share tips, tricks, and tools to help you succeed and enjoy playing even more. So with all that said, let me hand you over to your hosts, the Triumph Hunting Titan Nitedemon, the Pink Panted Pansy Peroty, and your Hunter Master Ranger, Mr. No One Respawns in Real Life!
Okay, so we have a lot to talk about.
We do have a lot to talk about.
So much to
as
talk
you say.
about.
Squirrel!
Did you really just run 4 ads? I don't know. I have no idea, dude. I don't know how to do the ad thing yet. I just got affiliated yesterday. I'm still trying to run through all the settings. So ads is not something I know how to deal with yet. Yesterday they said it was only 1, and it was like a 10-second one. And you're telling me it's 4 now?
I don't know. I mean, Az has been here since practically day one. He must know this by now. We are not professional YouTubers or streamers. We make this stuff up as we go along. We don't know how it works. It just works. And when it doesn't work, we force it to make it work. Which is why you have bad audio sometimes, which is why you have half a podcast sometimes, which is why you have audio cut out sometimes.
Wait, when did I have half a podcast?
We've had half a podcast before.
Oh, I thought you were targeting me.
No. I'm just saying, in general, things go wrong, and we just force this out on the world.
Yeah.
So, welcome to the show, everybody. Peroty has decided he wants to get COVID this week, so he opted to go away from his house last week on a little holiday and go to a different town where people lick windows and touch him in the face, and he's contracted COVID, him and his wife. We hope they get better, but yes, he's contracted the disease.
I think you're being a little bit judgy. I mean, you don't know for certain they lick windows. That's just a rumor.
Look, he's moved away from the sanctum of his house. In the last 2 years, he's never caught it. He's gone to somewhere else where they lick the windows.
But see, that's the thing. Do we know that they lick the windows? You're assuming a whole lot right now. Buddy.
I'm assuming he's touched something he shouldn't have touched.
That could be it. Oh, hey, Trials Labs this week is Capture the Zone.
Squirrel!
That is actually a fun Trials. Have you played that yet? Have you had the chance? I don't know why my voice is going up 5 times right now.
No.
Anyway.
We've just literally discussed this. That I work in the middle of the night here. Yeah. I come home, I sleep, I get up and I do the podcast with you guys. Yeah. That's it.
Okay. You want to do Trials Labs Capture Zone? I can get Mike on and we can do that.
I would love to, but there is a huge, huge twab that we need to go through.
Oh, I'm talking about after the twab.
Yeah.
Mike is not up right now anyway. Gotta give him time to get up. Be a part of the world.
So yes, unfortunately, you are left with Hunter Master Ranger and myself to go through the meaty twab this week as best we can. And we say,
unfortunately, they know that I like to skip through it. They know.
Yes, but then they also know that I don't like to skip through it. So it's like really conflicting this week. Normally we have Peroty here to kind of support me, really, not you.
Oh, wow. Really? Is that how this is going to work? Okay.
Normally it is. Normally he supports me and he goes, I suppose I'll read lots and kind of translate what you're telling people and explain. But he's not here, so it's just going to be you and me fighting, unfortunately.
Yeah. Anyway, so do you have the banner for next week at Bungie? If not, I think I can get it.
I do, yes. I will tell the people what is happening next week in Destiny.
What is happening, my friend?
You can enjoy bonus Gambit ranks all week long.
What?
All right.
So if you're looking to max out your rank, get to rank 16, get the Reckless Endangerment shotgun, and then go back through and get the ornament for it, next week could be a good week to do it. Because if you hit your 5 games, isn't it? It's not even 5 wins. It's 5 game streak, and then just keep playing. The points will rack up. I'm sure you get more for a win, but who knows these days? They change their minds every 5 minutes. It could be, might not be. And if we had a Peroty here, he would tell you, but we don't. And Gambit Labs is being turned on again. You can become sneaky with Moat Thief, and we'll go over that in the Twab later. You can take down Alahul, the Lightblade, in the Nightfall, and Clash comes to the Crucible.
Delightful.
Now, do you remember what Peroty's told you about Clash?
Yeah, you actually just get to kill people for points. You don't
Exactly.
need to go for points of interest. You don't need to pick up moats. You don't need to go from point A to point B. It's not capture the flag. Your goal is to just kill everything you see, and that gives you points.
So what you basically do in Iron Banner and Control, where you
And
ignore the capture
everything
points,
else.
just do that in Clash.
There you go.
And you'll be sorted. There will also be Control up next week and some trials.
Yeah.
But,
And I do understand it's hard for some people. You're not going to have a capture point to ignore. And I totally get how that would bother some people. But trust me, this is for the better.
I think what's upsetting about it is that with Control, when you see it being captured, there's at least 1 or 2 people there that you can go and kill. With Clash, it's so random. People are just running all over the place into each other, running past each other. You just don't know what's happening. I think with Control, Iron Banner, somewhere where you have a capture point, you at least know people will try and congregate there that actually do try and play that game mode. So I think that's kind of the advantage of these people that just go around and kill people, that they know that people will be congregating in this area. But with Clash, it's just... it is a free-for-all.
It's like duck hunting with the duck collar and the little wooden duck. You're cheating. I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what it is, really.
Hmm.
And then when you capture all the zones in Iron Banner and the wolves are set loose, that's like what Clash is like. It's like everyone just runs like headless chickens all over the place.
Run away!
Yeah.
Away. I like how they have the new guns that do more damage during the wolves howl, and it doesn't necessarily just mean the winning team. Like, the guns do more damage on both sides. Even if you're the losing team during the wolves howl, your guns still do more damage. I was like, that's pretty cool. Kind of gives
very
you a chance to
situational.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Situational, my ass. The whole time in Gambit, somebody's got the wolves calling. Come on. Not Gambit. Damn it.
Iron Banner.
That one.
Yeah. Potato.
Tomato, potato.
Yep.
Yeah.
And following on from that, we have our challenges for week 10. Yes, we are in week 10 of our challenges. So this is the final week of challenges. Don't forget, you can go back and do any of the other challenges for the rest of the season. But this is the final week that are actually giving you stuff to do. So we have Snuffed Out. Defeat Morak Lightstealer, Unath the Light Cleanser, and Korosek the Throne Bringer in the Psyops Battlegrounds. And it's one of each. And the reward will be Challenge XP+. We have the Psyops Speed Up. Complete all Psyops Battlegrounds in under 11 minutes each. Launch the Psyops Battlegrounds direct from the EDZ, Cosmodrome, and the Moon on the Destinations tab of the Director. And one of each of those, and that will give you Challenge XP++.
Oh, yeah.
And Night on the Moon. On the Moon, earn progress by completing bounties, patrols, public events, and lost sectors. And 18 of those, and that will give you Challenge XP+, and some Bright Dust. And then we have Stalwart Skin. Acquire the Stalwart Skin ornament for the Reckless Endangerment, and that will give you Challenge XP++, Bright Dust, and the Planestrider ship. And that is the ornament for the shotgun for the season. So don't forget, you have to have gone through each playlist. So that's Gambit, Crucible, and Strikes. Complete that, reset your rank on each of those. Go get to level 16, reset the rank, and then go back through to collect the ornaments for each of those. And don't forget, if you complete 66 out of the, I honestly don't know how many there are. There's quite a few. If you complete 66 of those, that will give you a large pile of bright dust. So yeah, there's lots of bright dust to have there. And speaking of lots of bright dust, I can tell you where you can go and spend it next week in your Eververse store. So week 10, which is the 26th of April, 2022, for our weekly offerings of silver, we have the Glimmering Gunslinger exotic emote for 1,000 silver. You have the N33 DL, which is your exotic ship, which is going to be a silver-only item this season, and that is going to be for 800 silver. We have the EXU14, which is exotic sparrow. Again, it's another item that's only going to be available for silver this season. That, again, is going to be 800 silver. The Canned Rage, which is your legendary emote, another silver-only item this season. That's going to be for 500 silver. And then we have our Synthweave templates, which you don't need because we've discussed. Go down to see Ada 1 in the bottom of the tower, pick up as many bounties as you can, and just do those progressively over the rest of the season. There's going to be lots of things coming up with Guardian Games. They'll expect you to go into the playlist, so grab those and just do them passively, and you don't have to worry about it. I have passively done all 10 on my Titan already, which is bizarre. So she says, no, I cannot have any more this season. So I'm now going to have to go and finish them on my Hunter and my Warlock for the rest of the season if I want some more Synthweave for those characters. But yes, you can pick up bounties for, I think it's 10,000 Glimmer, and that will get you a bounty for each of those. So if you've got loads of Glimmer laying around, you might as well get some Synthweave to then turn into ornaments to then go on favourite piece of armour and turn yourself into something else. For Bright Dust next week, you do not need your concentrated matter gems, your glimmer shards, or your scavenger spoons, because there are mods on your ghosts that you can equip to get more glimmer, more upgrade modules, and more planetary materials. You do not need these. Do not waste your bright dust on them. 250 bright dust does not need to be wasted on those. But what you could waste your bright dust on is the workout dance, which is a legendary emote for 700 bright dust. We have the Infinality, which is the exotic weapon ornament for the collective obligation for 1,250 bright dust. So if you've got that exotic from the raid, there you go. There's an ornament for it, if you haven't already got it. We have the Hive Ghostly Projection, which is a legendary ghost projection for 1,500 bright dust. And the Vibrant Medusa legendary shader for 300 bright dust. And then on your final page of bright dust offerings next week, we will have the DIY Forgemaster exotic emote for 3,250 bright dust. The Courtyard Celebration, which is your legendary emote, for 700 bright dust. The E99 Shell, which is exotic ghost shell, for 2,850 bright dust. The 5P3AR exotic sparrow for 2,500 bright dust. And then we have the helmet ornaments for the universal ornaments for this season. So we have the Abyss Walker mask for the hunters, the Desolate Diver helmet for the Titans, and the Elect of the Empty Hood for the Warlocks. Each of those will be 1,200 bright dust. We have the Pale Rider exotic weapon ornament for the 4th Horseman shotgun for 1,250 bright dust. And yes, that gun still exists, and there's an ornament for it. Maybe it'll be meta next season. Maybe it won't. And finally, we have the Daito projection, which is your legendary ghost projection for 1,500 bright dust. And then coming up in the next couple of weeks, at the moment, we don't have anything that hasn't already been up that we can tell you about, because we will have Guardian Games going on. So the last 3 weeks of the season, 11, 12 and 13, at the moment, they are classified in the database, but I'm sure when it comes to next week's show, they will hopefully be unclassified so we can tell you what's going on. If not, it's just going to be by chance, and then we can go from there,
I suppose.
And then finally, our lost sectors for next week.
Hello!
So if you are new to the game, or if you're an experienced veteran of the game and you are just looking to hunt down some more exotics or just farm for some exotics, then I have the list for you for next week. So we have the K1 Logistics on the Moon giving you legs on Monday, the 25th of April, and PV Shifty has a guide for you for that. Tuesday, the 26th of April, would be the Metamorphosis on the Throne World giving exotic arms. Abiao has a guide for you for that. Wednesday, the 27th, will be the Spalotcha. I still don't know what the name of that is officially. Again, on the Throne World, giving you chess pieces, and PV Shifty's got a guide for you for that. Thursday, the 28th, will be the Extraction on the Throne World, giving you exotic helmets, and Divide has a guide for you for that. Friday, the 29th, will be the Vel's Labyrinth on the Cosmodrome, giving you exotic legs, and Legionless has a guide for you for that. Saturday, the 30th, will be the Exodus Gardens 2A on the Cosmodrome, giving exotic arms, and Divide has a guide for you for that. Sunday, the 1st of May, will be the Aphelions Rest on the Dreaming City, giving you chess pieces, and that will be Divide again. And then finally, round to the 2nd of May, Bay of Drowning Wishes on the Dreaming City, giving exotic helmets, and Time Sausage Gaming has a guide for you for that. So if you are new to the game, there are hidden lost sectors around each planet, and to unlock these to become available to hunt down these armor pieces, you have first got to have completed each lost sector, do a run through, kill the boss in them, come back out. Once you've done that, if you go to the lost sector that's corresponding for each day, which I've just read out to you, there will be a flag outside, which then be selectable, and you will be able to select a legendary version or a master version. The legendary version does have a slightly less chance of you getting an exotic to drop, but you can run it a couple of times and hopefully, cross your fingers, get the exotic to drop that you want. Or you could do some farming if you like. You could just run it over and over again. I mean, it's good for if you're leveling up your weapons, you might as well take them in and do that as well. Or if you want to set it up to a master version, that will give you a slightly higher chance. It will give you a common chance at an exotic to drop, whereas legend is a rare chance. You'll get more champions in there, so don't forget to read what the flag says outside, because it will tell you what burns there are and what champions there are, so either barrier, overload, or unstoppable. So check your artifact for mods that you might be able to equip to help you out, or even, like I found out this week, that just paying passively, I can throw a grenade out and stun a champion. Who knew? If only there were places I could read these things from. So if you want to hunt down some of the new exotics, this would be the best place to get it if you haven't run through the campaign, because you do have a chance at getting, say, for example, the Titans have a really cool helmet that they can get. So if you pick a day where helmets are up, so let's have a quick look. Next Thursday, the 28th, helmets will be up. If you want to run it as a Titan and you haven't got that exotic helmet to drop from finishing the campaign, or you haven't got it at all, you have the highest chance of that one to drop first. So if it's an exotic that you haven't got that's available for this season, say like the Warlocks and the Hunters have both got some really cool arms that you can get. So on Tuesday the 26th, if you run the Lost Sector and you haven't already got those arms to drop, you have a higher chance of getting those as your first drop from that Lost Sector. So go to town, try it out, and have fun.
Yeah.
So as we've done all the other stuff now, we might as well get into this huge TWAB.
Massive!
The massive TWAB for the 21st of April 2022. Hello, dear reader. Bungie would like to kick off this TWAB with a quick word of advice.
Right.
Never ending your draft phase with your introduction. They've been kicking this thing around for 15 minutes now, trying to figure out the best way to launch into yet another mega TWAB's worth of Sandbox information. And they've got quite a few changes planned for next season that they're excited to start spreading the word. So they want to keep their conversations about the live game short and sweet. Really? Okay, let's do that. Apparently it's been an interesting week, to say the least. Master difficulty at Valve the Disciple has kicked off. And it really did kick off, didn't it, Respawn? There's been a lot of people in the community not happy with this. Have you heard a lot of people say they're unhappy with, I think it's the Masterworked weapons, or the...
Are you talking about for the raid?
Yeah, the Adept weapons, sorry.
The Adept weapons, yeah, they're absolutely upset about it, because even though the Adept weapons can roll with Adept mods, you can't craft them, which is a problem. And the reason that's a problem is because the Adept weapons do not roll with the advanced perks. And therefore, you can craft your own gun with better specs than the adept versions of that gun. Just because, you can craft with the advanced specs on there, So that's why everybody's upset. They're saying that the that the hard mode raid is literally pointless unless you just want a weapon with an adept mod on it. That's it.
Yeah. And I get where they're coming from.
They totally
they try to make aspirational content for people to get some really good stuff. And I think we all knew that the adept weapons were coming with the master version. And I think from the database that they weren't going to be craftable. So there was a lot of people that were already complaining beforehand. And I think Bungie are kind of stuck in this halfway of they don't know what to give people because they don't want to make a gun too powerful for doing that hard content, because there's only I think 0.05% of people will actually do the master version opposed to the normal version, whereas even that's quite low. There are still quite a lot of players that will play the normal version of the raids, but the master version is meant to be that, that next echelon of hardness. And if you've got people running around with extremely top tier weapons, it doesn't make it fair. I think they've always wanted to kind of balance it out to say, if you've put the time and effort and investment into the game, like you could go into that raid and you could pick up 5 of the weapons to then craft those weapons in the end to make your own god roll, and that will give everybody the same chance to have that god roll because you can all do it. And I don't think that there's anything that they can kind of do to, not that I can see. Is there anything that you can think of that they could do to make the master version more of a aspirational content apart from
just make it so that you can craft? I mean, you'd have to go through there like 5 different weeks, like you have to do now, get that same weapon red border 5 different times, and then you can craft it, right? So if you put in the work, I think you deserve the reward. Now, yeah, it's going to be a more powerful gun that other people might not have, let's say in Crucible or whatever, but it's not unobtainable. You can go do a raid. There's people dragging people through raids all the time, even master raids, right? So you can go do a raid, you can go get this gun. It might take you some time, but you have the capability of doing it. It's much easier to obtain this adept weapon that you can craft from a master raid than it is, let's say, going flawless in trials. The raids have mechanics. The raids you can learn. Trials is random, So yeah, I still think that they should make it such that if you do the content on the master version, you can still buy a red border adept weapon of your choice at the end, just like you can in the regular version of the raid. So yeah, I mean, that would solve their problem. I don't know why they didn't do that. That's just whatever.
Maybe time constraints, because we do know that whole crafting thing was, they'd built this huge thing, hadn't they, with about 30 different elements that you needed to get so that you could then craft different weapon perks on these new craftable weapons. And then they boiled it down to was it 6 or 7? And now they're going to boil it down to just 2 or 3 for coming seasons, because there was so much of that farming thing, and people just didn't like having to have low stacks of what we could save to do crafting. And then they, in one of the last patches a couple of weeks back, they increased the sizes of what you could hold, but then they're going to reduce the amount of I can't even remember the mutated elements and and you know what I mean for the crafting table. You might know what I mean, but other people might not know what I mean.
Wow, that's a little targeted. I feel a little.
Well, no, if you're a new player, I'm saying if you're a new player, you might not actually know or care, to be honest, about all these red framed weapons.
Yeah. Well, no, you as a new player, you would definitely need to care. If you don't care now, you need to. So it would have to definitely be like a lack of knowledge kind of thing. Because once you find out that the red border weapons allow you to craft the strongest version of that weapon, yeah, it becomes real important real quick.
But have you got to that point where you now get a red framed weapon to drop and you're like, you know what, I'm just going to press dismantle?
I'm not
going to hold on to it.
I've already got the frame for that weapon. Now, people are going to be yelling at me, but you need the materials. Fair. I understand you need the material, but I have like 300 or 400 of each one. So I'm not really in the need right now, right?
Yeah.
And plus, there's only a few weapons that I actually need to craft, in my opinion, like need, right? One of them is the scout rifle, which I've already crafted. So that one's done. The raid grenade launcher, I still have one more frame until I can craft that. The raid submachine gun, I still have one more frame before I can craft that, right? So there's really only a few things that I actually consider myself needing to craft. And for these things, I have plenty of materials to do that, right?
Yeah. I'm
And,
saying, like,
and
if you get a random crate to drop or a random sniper or hand cannon that has really bad perks on it and you just can't be bothered to level it up, I'm just dismantling them now. I'm just like, you know what? I've
well,
just
something like an auto rifle is easy to level up. Like when they drop like a sniper rifle or a fusion
Yeah.
rifle, that's when I'm like, oh, right? That just gets dismantled right away. It's like, I don't need your parts.
I mean, you can do the old thing of like equipping it just before you finish your nightfall or finishing it whatever strike or gambit
Sure.
match you're on, and it'll give you that jump in. I think it's like between 16 and 30%, depends on what game mode it is.
Mhm.
So you can still do that, but even then, I'm now just using that point because I was playing the Nightfalls this week because you've got the double rewards. I
Mhm.
was getting to the end of the Nightfall, seeing where the boss was with his health, and then just swapping out for the weapons that I'm trying to level up to get them to then take them back to the crafting table to give them the adept perks or the better perks on them.
Right.
So,
But I still think, and I keep saying this because it works just so damn well. The new activity for this season, the wellspring or whatever,
yeah.
that you run through there. Okay, if you're using the weapons, you run through there twice, and you're done.
Yeah, it goes really fast.
Yeah. If it's just like your secondary weapon and you're not using it, you run through there 3 times, and you're done. And they go by fast. So this is not a big time.
Yeah, I
Time
get
constraint
that.
for you.
But the
Yeah.
problem is that you've got Bungie pulling you from side to side. They're going, right, next week, for example, you've got Gambit Labs. And if you want to get your Reckless Engagement shotgun and then you want to go back through and get your ornament for it, you're going to have to, if you're not like a streamer or a YouTuber, you're going to have to dedicate your time next week to get that done if you want to get those things done, because that's the week to get it done efficiently. So you don't want to lose your 5 game streak. So you're going to play that over and over again until you kind of get that done, because it's really deflating to suddenly come out of it. I mean, like this week I was playing the Nightfall so that I could get my streak to get to rank 16 to reset it to then go back through and do to get my ornament on strikes. But I know it wasn't like a double XP for the Nightfalls, but it was just a bit more of an incentive to play Nightfalls this week, because being on a 5 game streak and then playing Nightfalls gives you a higher XP gain for playing Nightfalls. So that was the only reason I was doing that. But it's really deflating to suddenly come out of that and go, well, I need to do my ranked Crucible matches this week, otherwise I'm going to lose out on XP for doing those, and I'm going to then lose out on possibly getting to
Right.
Legend
But
in
but
glory this season.
but
So
there's still some things that you still need to craft, right? These things you're gonna have to get before they're gone. And the reason I say this is because as of right now, you have some competitors where that's the only thing in their class that can do that, right?
but the thing is, these things aren't going to be going away anytime soon, because you remember
We don't
last year.
know.
No, you remember last year Bungie changed the whole way that seasons work. So just as a reminder, seasons now on from like last year, when I think it was Beyond Light dropped, we had the seasons drop, and at the end of like the 3 months, that season would then go away, and then you'd get a new season and you'd lose out on the stuff. Bungie then changed it so that the following seasons you could still do that season's content. So at the moment we're doing the Sandbox Battlegrounds with this season's season of whatever it is. I can't remember now. What is it? Season of something? I don't know.
Yes.
Yes. So we're doing this current season anyway. So when next season drops, which will be on the 24th of May, we will still be able to go back and play the PsyOps stuff, and we'll still be able to play this season stuff and get the weapons and ornaments and whatever else is available for this season. The only thing that will be going away is the challenges. The challenges are specifically for each season, so you have to do those 10 weeks worth of challenges to get them out of the way, or to get them done, to get your Bright Dust, your XP, and progress the seasonal stuff before the next season's challenges come in. Now, what they did do with that is that some of the seasonal challenges will stick around from this season. And say, for instance, if you're leveling up your war table for the PsyOps Battlegrounds, you will still need I think it's insight that you need to level up your different... I guess they're just nodes on there. There's about 8 different nodes that you have to unlock to progress for the seasonal challenges. But that will stick around for the rest of the year until Witch Queen, or the Witch Queen ends, basically, and Lightfall begins. So you will have like the rest of the year to do those specific challenges. But the other amount of challenges that give you XP, Bright Dust, and the large amount of pile of Bright Dust will go away. And I think you're left with something like about 16 to 20 to do for each season, as I remember from last year. And I don't know where I was going with this whole conversation. I think I kind of trailed off and think, oh yes, I must tell people these things. Getting back to these master raids, I think they are good to be in the game for people to aspire to and, do their triumphs and get that done. It's really nice that it's in the game. And I think there should be something more there for them to get, apart from adept versions of those weapons. I think if you're going to give them adept weapons, then you're going to have to maybe give them a different perk or something. They do something added that the normal versions don't do. Like you said, make them maybe craftable, but maybe give them an extra perk like we had in Destiny 1, where if you use them back in the same raid, they are strong against like the Taken or the Fallen or whatever. If you take down like 3 Taken in one go, that recharges your grenade 100%, or you get an overshield, something like that. That the Destiny 1 weapons that kind of gave you. Remember when we played? I think they had it for Vault of Glass. They had it for Dark Below. Each weapon from that set from the raid gave you an extra perk. It was strong against like Hive.
Are you talking about raid specific weapons?
Yeah, I'm talking about the raid specific weapons. So like at the moment with the Vow the Disciple raid, if they gave them an extra perk that did something extra to help you in the master versions or even in the normal versions.
They do. The armors do have perks on there.
No, not the armor, the weapons.
Oh, okay.
Do you remember with Destiny 1 when
where like the weapons would do extra damage against like Taken or whatever? Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
Maybe something like that.
I mean,
there needs to be something else, because you can't make them too strong in PvP. So they need to be something that will benefit you in a PvE activity. Maybe like a Grandmaster. That just you could take these weapons, use them in the Grandmaster, and they give you a bit more of a leg up on your opponents.
They have Taken in there. You could use Taken spec, right? They have some Taken in there, so you could use that. And that's really about it that you can put on your weapons, aside from like the majors and minors and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, technically you have something like that on the weapons still. You just have to use up your mod slot for it. I mean, yeah. But I see what you mean. They need like other things, like, hey, you do extra damage to all enemies while in this specific raid, or do extra damage to this particular enemy type, like the Taken. Why don't we have one of those for the Cabal? Why don't we have one of those for all the other races? Why is it only the Taken that we have a mod for that does extra damage?
Or like we've got at the moment with the I can't remember what they're called.
Same.
The new things that you can get from Gambit Trials and is it Grandmasters? The mementos. Why not have something that would give your
Aren't
guardian...
the mementos just like a decoration, like aesthetical?
Yes, but once you level it up to level 30 on a weapon, it gives you a new shader.
Okay.
that you can only use on that weapon. So,
and how do you get these?
Sorry,
How do you get these? Gambit, you said?
you can get them in Gambit, I believe, Trials and Grandmasters.
Hmm.
I think that's how you get them. Let me just double check.
That would be good. Should be like every major activity. Like you should be able to get one from Strike Playlist, from Gambit, from Trials, from Crucible. I mean, that's usually how they do it, right? Every playlist gets one.
They're limited to Gambit, Trials of Osiris, and Grandmaster Nightfalls at the moment.
What?
So yeah, a memento, once you get it, you can equip it on your craftable weapon. And then if you look in there, it tells you that I think it's something like level 30. Once you've got that weapon to level 30, the memento will then unlock a shader for you that is only specific for that weapon. It's not unlocked 100% in the game and you can apply it to everything. It's just on that weapon. Yes.
If you have a weapon, let's say it's a glaive. Just, throwing something random out there. And let's just say a glaive happens to be, I don't know, level 130.
Yep.
I don't know anybody that's got a glaive that high. But if you put this on that glaive that's already ridiculously high, will you just automatically get the shader?
I'd like to think so.
That'd be cool.
You
put it on something at high level and then still have to add an additional 30 levels to it, because if something's already that high, getting those extra 30 levels is going to be a nightmare.
Well, no, not if obviously you're using it a lot and you like it.
Yeah, but the more you use it, the harder it is to level up.
It's not.
It is.
It's the same. It's the same for each level.
No,
it is.
It's not a thing.
It's never been a thing.
Destiny is an RPG, and like any other RPG, the more experience, the harder.
It's level for each level.
No,
it's the same amount of XP for each level.
Doesn't sound like a thing.
But what I'm saying is that the master raids need something like that is tangible for players to actually aspire to get. So maybe like an animated shader, or even maybe an animated emblem would be fantastic. People would strive to get that. Maybe you have to do each challenge each week for like the 5 weeks. You have to, jump through so many hoops, but you get this animated emblem on your character, or you get like an exclusive shader, or, just like we had with when we did the strikes at the beginning of Destiny 2, you had various different versions of each emblem for that strike. So depending on your score or how many, what you actually did in that strike, or just RNG, I can't remember how they did it, but it would give you a different version of the strike's emblem. Mm-hmm. So maybe if they just do something like that people would actually like to get, that shows off in game.
Shader shows off in game.
Yes, yeah. I'm not saying like throw a new ghost or sparrow or ship at people, because I think people have got to the stage where they're saturated with all of those things. Unless it's like an exclusive, like different design out of this world that people are really, really, really want. I think they're kind of on a losing streak like that. But they need to do something with the master difficulties, because they're not, apart from ticking a few boxes and saying, yes, I've done that triumph and I've got that seal. It's not. I don't think it's what people actually wanted.
Okay. I mean, the thing about it is
Bungie, you play raids,
Bungie
and
added
you're not
that into the game. This wasn't like
but you play raids, but you're not incentivized to go in and do that, are you?
I mean, no. I'm more of
Exactly.
a gear whore, but I mean that's not an end game goal. That's just an extra type of thing you can get.
Yes, but if there was something that would make you look cool as a hunter,
pulling that card. Okay. Yeah, I mean, yeah, totally. But I mean, the shader can still technically do that. Like, if I unlock that shader, I guess the thing that would make it better is if I unlock that shader, right? I should be able to use that shader on all of my weapons and all of my armor, right? That would be a way to incentivize it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what happens if you had like an animated cloak that was only available by doing certain triumphs in that Grandmaster? Oh, sorry, not the Grandmaster, in the Master difficulty. Imagine if you had like a flaming cloak, a bit like they have in the Hunger Games. That you equip it, and
The
at the
Hunger
bottom,
Games? You mean the Guardian Games?
No, the Hunger Games. You know, she has that dress that turns into fire and things.
Oh,
Imagine
that. Okay.
you had that as a cloak.
You actually meant the Hunger Games.
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
But you imagine like that, a flaming cloak. Something that is that people would want to go in and actually do. Maybe tie it to the raid. I mean, I've seen some of these animated armors that they've got for, but you know, just beef it up, make it more like people really, really want this item.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, there's not a whole lot of aesthetics that would give people that kind of, hey,
I'm just throwing ideas at a wall here. I mean, I don't work at Bungie. I'm saying that they need something more. I'm not telling them what they do need. I'm just throwing ideas at you.
Let me get the monster armor. Let me be Godzilla. Yeah.
I tell you what, I'd be in there every day.
Right? Jesus, man. Yeah, you want to do that? Hey, guys, this armor we're going to give you, but the one that didn't win, you're going to have to get from a related activity like Gambit or Nightfall or something.
I tell you what, you want your mech armor, you go in there, you do that.
Yeah, there you go.
That's where you go and get it from. That's a good idea, Respawn.
Yeah.
Well done on that.
Yeah.
I think they should do maybe secret armors then. That's a good idea. Really good idea. Secret armors. That suddenly this different or this ornament drops in game, and then once you equip it, you've turned into like this huge mech monster kind of thing. Yeah, I like that. Just something different. I mean, like we had Destiny 1, they had the glowing armor sets for each raid that they reprised. That was fantastic. And when you got damaged, the glow lessened. And when you weren't damaged, you're on full health. It was, you had all these things glowing off of you, and they were really fantastic armors, weren't they?
Remember
those?
Oh yeah, I do. And even
why not do something like that in the master version?
Because extra programming, I'm not entirely sure.
No, I know.
I mean, Destiny. Right. The thing that bugs me is Destiny has the recipe for success. They've seen what worked in Destiny 1. They've seen what works, hell, even in Destiny 2, and they're just like, they're not sticking with it.
I think it all comes down to time constraints.
It has to.
We saw that with how they did with weapon crafting. They had this grand idea of 30 craftable elements that you needed to collect. Then they whittled it down to like 6, 12, whatever it was. And now that we're going to go even further and whittle it down even further. But I think it's things like that. It's just they have such grand ideas, and maybe they did have grand ideas for this, and they've had to kind of compact it down and go, well, we can only give them this because this is what we can do in the time frame.
Sure. I can totally see that, but at the same time, like, I don't see why they should have lessened the number of weapons that we can craft. Because if I could craft every weapon in the game, all I have to do is get the border for it, then that means I would only have to have the one, version of that weapon in my vault. I go out there, I craft the one version I want, boom, delete the rest, Or the two versions, right? Like you have, like the scout rifle that's out right now. You have the high level content one that can pop shields, and it makes popping any elemental shield easier, right? That's high level content right there for a match game, And then you have your generic version where you want to do PvE, where it's got like the whole Firefly and whatever else you want to have on there, like Firefly and Subsistence. That's your PvE role for non high level activity, right? So you go in there, you craft exactly what you want. You have only that in your vault. You don't have to really farm for anything except the materials to build the weapon, right? I really enjoyed that idea, and the problem is now I look at some of these weapons that have the potential for really good rolls, and you can't craft them. I'm just like, why? why can't I craft this? I want to craft this. Let me craft this, Bungie.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think by them limiting us like that, they kind of shot themselves in the foot a little bit, And
I think it also doesn't help the fact that once you've crafted your perfect weapon and you've unlocked those enhanced perks, you can't then go back into the weapon, take it to the enclave, and just select that node again because you've unlocked it. You have to repay what you've paid for it, and I think there was a lot of uproar in the community about that.
Actually,
once you've done it, it should be unlocked. You just need to take it back to the crafting table, or at the end of the day, have it like Destiny 1 weapons, where if it's unlocked, it just goes on the weapon, and then it's just a selectable node. If you need to take it into that content, don't take it back to the crafting table. But at the moment, you need to take it back to the crafting table, re-unlock it by spending more of the stuff that you've kind of accumulated. And even then, if you don't like it, you then have to repay and do it again. It's just, it's a lose-lose thing if you don't like what you've crafted.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing about it is you can always go back and reshape it. Yeah, you do have to pay for it again, but
yeah, but that's
like
what I'm
here
saying.
I was thinking, I didn't even think about that aspect of it. I was thinking, hey, you craft the one weapon for PvE and your one weapon for PvP, but you don't even really need to do that. You can just keep one in the vault, and if you want to go swap between PvE and PvP, you can do that with that same weapon. You can just reshape it. So, yeah.
Yeah, but it's going to cost you each time. And
yeah,
if like you said, if you had two versions of it, you've got to level up both versions to the point where you can get those enhanced perks
no, you
to
just
unlock.
need the one.
No, you need two. If you're going to do one for, say, PvP and one for PvE, you need two versions of that gun. If you don't want to then keep spending time
you need two
going
versions
back
of that
and
gun,
recraft.
but you only need to level one of them up. As you level one weapon up, you unlock all the nodes, and you can just recraft a new one with all the unlocked nodes. You don't have to re-level. Yeah, I've done it. I've
so you've crafted two of the same weapon?
Yeah. The scout rifle that I was talking about earlier.
So when you crafted your second weapon, what level did it open up as?
The level was 1, but
yeah,
the thing about it is I had access to all the nodes that I had already unlocked with the first one. I didn't have to re-access all of the nodes. No, it's like blueprint specific. I mean, I'll double check. I mean, I'll go in right now. After this match, I'll go back in and craft a new glaive, because right now my glaive is bonkers high. So if I go craft a new glaive, I should have access to all the nodes that my glaive that I have now has, which is literally every one. So I will go see if I've shot myself in the foot or if it's an actual thing, because I'm pretty sure I've done the scout rifle twice.
Yeah, because as far as I understood it, each time you craft a weapon, it starts back at level 1. You then have to level it up again to unlock each node for that weapon, regardless of how many times you've done it on a previous weapon.
Fair. Okay.
But it could be wrong, as you said.
Yeah, I'll double check, because my glaive was the perfect candidate for that.
Now, I'm guessing that you're not at the level to do Grandmasters yet, because I'm not.
I am.
Are you? Have you done any?
No.
Okay.
I haven't found a team to do it. I'm, even on my Titan, I'm like 1571, 72. So I'm up there. Yeah.
You need to be 75, though.
Oh, is it 75?
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was 70. Oh, I guess not.
No. 1575 to enter the Grandmasters, and they continue to push the limits of players' skill, build crafting, and general gameplay strategies. Iron Banner has come and gone, but Trials of Osiris returns this weekend, as Respawn has told us already. And you have more chances to go flawless. There's still quite a bit to do, especially if you're trying to finish off each fresh Triumph release with the Witch Queen and the Season of the Risen. If I'd have kept reading, Season of the Risen, there you go. All said, we're having a good time and we're hoping you are too. Are you having a good time? Says it all, Bungie.
Well, no, that's not Bungie's fault. That's because I'm playing on a Titan. That's not a Bungie thing.
Well, no,
I mean, I guess it is a Bungie thing, but but no, the game, I don't have anything really to complain about the game except, the weapon crafting. I should be able to craft any weapon in the game, past, present, or future. You gave me the opportunity to craft weapons. I want to use it. I'm greedy.
So, grab a drink, grab some snacks, because we're going to settle in for the largest twab ever.
Ever.
I think ever. Ever.
EVA, ever. Mm-hmm. It's a big one. So let's go ahead and start. And after this match, I'll quit the game and I'll craft the glaive and then I'll start paying attention.
Fair enough.
Yep.
So I think Bungie have kind of alluded to this big sandbox change even before the Witch Queen. We had a lot of changes coming with gear and weapons and armor before Witch Queen kind of dropped. I think they said this is the way that things are going to be. You're going to need to actually build into what you want to be in Destiny. We're not going to just have you be able to do 10,000 things on your character.
Oh, this is going to kill me. Sorry.
hence the reworking of Void 3.0. We're going to have Solar 3.0, Arc 3.0, and again tweaks to Stasis all the way down the line until we get some other dark subclass. But I think these things are they're going to be ongoing with being tweaked until they get to a point where they can't tweak it anymore. But I don't think that's going to be the case. I think this game's going to continue to live and be tweaked further and further as the game kind of lives on. So in this new version of the game that they're trying to get to, there's going to be a lot of changes. And with that, Chris Proctor is returning to tell us what's actually going to be happening with the Crucible, mainly the Crucible, because I think that's where it all kind of boils down to, is a lot of these changes are PvP based. And you'll find that there's a lot of PvE stuff that isn't changing because they like the fact that the way that we're kind of building with Void 3.0 and going in and being able to go up against this harder content and not walk through it as much, but it's more enjoyable to kind of build into like Three Guardians walking into a Grandmaster Nightfall and going, right, we
Three
can
Guardians
do this.
walk into a bar.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. So these changes are not coming until Season 17, which begins on May 24th. So we've got a whole month before these changes come into effect. So what you've got at this point in time, you can still do. It's just going to be next season of the Redacted, as it's always called. That's when things are going to be changing.
Trying to be clever, are you? Season of the Redacted.
It's going to be a lot to take in, they say. You might need to wait a bit for a few fellow community members to break down some of these changes to be less daunting. So wait for Astacross,
Fallout,
yeah. Cool guy, to. And I think the other thing is that yes, they can break them down now and explain it, but it's not until you actually get it in your hands that you fully understand where it's at from where it was from. So it's going to be, I'd say, a good week or maybe 2 weeks into the new season that we're actually going to know how these changes have actually taken on effect. I mean, they can hypothesize all they like. I mean, for an example, I think it was a couple of weeks back or about a month back that Fallout did an up-to-date shotgun video because they changed shotguns and the spreads and the distance of one hit kills. Now, they said that they made quite a significant change, but what he found wasn't kind of that. And that was many, many weeks into this new season. And I think the thing is, they've touched shotguns again, and it's going to be the same kind of thing. It's going to take somebody actually dedicating some time to actually do the testing to show you where it was to where it is now.
Goodness for Fallout, yep.
So yeah, thank you very much, Fallout, and anybody else that takes the time to do that. And once they do, we will have their videos linked in our show notes for you to go and check out if you are interested. If you're not interested and you just play the game, good on you, because I think that's how it's meant to be played mainly. Just you do you and have fun. So we have a handful of goals from the team. Glaives, commentary on their design and some plans for future tuning. Flinch and airborne gameplay and how they're pushing into build crafting for these. Tuning one-hit kills in the Crucible. General tuning for special ammo, exotic weaponry, legendary archetypes, and a slew of weapon perks. G'day, Guardians. This is Chris Proctor speaking. This isn't me.
The way you... I feel you for that.
In Season 17, the Sandbox team is making changes across all aspects of the Sandbox to improve players' experience of PvP. See, just PvP. Here are the weapons team goal to support that. Introduce levers to tune how players build for airborne gunplay. Destiny has extremely fluid and expressive airborne movement, but that movement must be balanced against grounded players lest it become oppressive. We want players who enjoy that playstyle to be able to build into it, but they'll have much tougher choices about what they want to leave behind to do so.
Hmm.
Successful engaging in air will no longer be just as simple as putting on an Icarus grip mod on it, but the upside for heavily investing in it will be higher.
Especially for hunters. Yeah, they're also introducing a new stat to weapons to compensate for this too.
They
That
are.
way you can actually see what your airborne accuracy for a weapon is.
They want to allow players to mitigate for flinch. Excessive flinch is a frequent complaint from players, most importantly when using primary weapons and taking large chunks of damage from enemies. Players should be able to invest in flinch resistance, and baseline flinch should be lower on primary weapons, but hand-tuned per archetype so that weapons that need flinch resist have the easiest access to it.
And speaking about flinch resist,
Mhm.
this is my complaint. Okay, so Titans. See, I used to think that Bungie just hates hunters, and I still do, right? But I'm beginning to shift more along the lines of Bungie just loves Titans more than everybody else, right? Because
Okay.
flinch resistance is now going to be tied directly to resilience.
What's that got to do with anything?
Titans are the only ones that really spec into resilience.
Not my hunter. My hunter has 100% resilience.
Okay, you're weird. Unless you have 100% resilience and 100% mobility and 100% recovery, you're weird. But normal people don't. Titans, their class ability is directly tied to how much resilience they have, and therefore have a tendency to spec into resilience. So Bungie's just passively giving Titans a buff, just across the board. Like Titan in PvP is going to be a happy little turtle behind his shield. You know, he's going to be like, yeah, I've got max resilience. I have a shield that I can shoot through. I've given myself and my teammates an overshield. And if you do manage to shoot me, I have 10% less flinch than everybody else. Yay! I mean, damn, dude. You know, you're complaining about the hunters and
I
their
think you're getting
being too
over-exaggerated
tanky.
on this at this point. in
Am
time.
I?
Yes.
Am I?
You are.
Everything I've just said is true.
No.
No?
No.
So Titans right now with Void 3.0 can't give everybody an overshield when they pop their shield.
Not always.
That is a false
They
lie.
can build it into that, but yeah.
No. Okay, whatever. You can do that, right?
It's an aspect of
and
fragment.
you can put on the exotic, which lets you shoot through your overshield, through your shield. That is just giving everybody overshields, right? And you just have to have 100% resilience, and now you have plus 10% reduced flinch. All those things I've said are true. I'm not over exaggerating at all. That is 100% a thing a Titan
It's
can
called
do.
build crafting.
No, it's not called build crafting. It's called Bungie giving a passive buff to Titans.
Reduce the number of one-hit kills in PvP.
Yay.
Sandbox overall wants to reduce the number of one-hit kills in PvP, shifting combat more towards primary gunplay. So, I've heard a lot of other people say this, but it seems to be shifting back to the meta of Destiny 2. Yeah, Destiny 2 Vanilla, where we had double primaries, and I'm not sure that went down very well. There was a lot of complaints about not being able to use your special. Again, I think it's something they're going to have to try out and test.
Well, I mean, they got to do something, though, because specials are absurd. You know, every time you turn a corner, you're getting shot in the head by a sniper. That's a little obsessive. Not obsessive, excessive, I should say.
Yeah, no, I get it.
I think you're right about the thing. Hold on. I'm double checking right now. Yeah, even on my hunter that's got the massively upgraded glaive, if I go to create a new one, you do start over without all the access to the perks. So I was wrong. My bad.
That's all right. I wasn't sure. When you said that you got it kind of unlocked, I was thinking, oh my word, this isn't something new, but okay. Well, thank you for clarifying that.
Yeah.
So with weapons, this means tuning special weapons, both effectiveness of special weapons and special weapons uptime overall, and one key primary outlier. And they want to address common feedback on weapons across all game modes. Each season, the weapons team looks at legendary and exotic weapons that are over or underperforming and like to make adjustments. Season 17 will be a larger pass than usual, with more focus on underused weapons and PvP balance.
Thank God. Get away from hand cannons and shotguns already. And by the way, I don't think it's going back to D2 vanilla, because at the very least D1 vanilla. At
D2.
the very least,
D2 vanilla.
Okay, yeah. At the very least, now you start off with a couple of primary rounds when you revive. So you're always going to have access to some primary. What they're doing is they're making sure that, and even when you kill a guy that's got a primary weapon, you can pick up his special.
Secondary.
Damn
Special.
Special.
Yeah, I knew what you meant. Everyone else knew what you meant. It's fine.
Yeah, so his special, you're going to start with special ammo. When you kill a guy, if he's got a special weapon, you get his special ammo that he hasn't used as well, right?
Yeah.
What they're doing is they're making it such that if you pick up special ammo, your special ammo scavenger isn't going to give you 8 sniper rounds for the brick.
No.
You know? Yeah. That's all that's doing. And I think that's okay. Because you can
We haven't got there yet. You're jumping so far ahead.
No, right there.
I'm getting so excited.
Treating your special weapons right here. That's what we're at.
I was just reading out their goals that they wanted to state. So they wanted to get into it with first up with glaives. But you just keep jumping ahead.
Fine, whatever.
They've noticed that several aspects of how glaives interact with weapons and armor perks don't match players' expectations, and want to take some time to clarify the intent, the changes included in Season 17, and the logic we'll use for future changes. A glaive melee is a basic melee attack, not a weapon attack, doesn't consume ammo, and deals kinetic damage. So it's more like an up-powered punch than a sword swing.
Ha! Hold X to doubt. No, I mean, you say it's an unpowered punch, and that might be true, but I'm gonna die on this hill, but I think the glaive is the most powerful weapon in a hunter's arsenal this season, by far. I mean, okay, it's an underpowered punch. Yeah, then why is it that when I punch somebody, now they're weak? Why is it now that when I punch somebody and kill them, I proc healing, right? I mean, why is it that when I punch somebody and they die, I get to go invisible constantly? Unpowered punch my butt, right? Constant weakness, constant invis, constant healing. Easily the strongest weapon for a hunter this season. And I already had this.
I agree with you. I think it's a very strong weapon. And I think if you can use it well, you can use it very.
Yeah. And Fuzco and everybody else is like, oh, yeah, what about boss damage? Well, boss damage, you use a freaking Yellowhorn. I'm not talking boss damage. I'm talking about ads. I'm talking about yellow bars. I'm talking about mini bosses. A glaive will absolutely just devastate anything outside of a raid boss, and it's true. And
yeah, I mean, I remember
you're going invis the whole time and you're weakening the whole time. Come on.
I remember walking into like Destiny 1 with Crota. You'd be at the back, you'd Gallahorn him, somebody would sword swing him, get him down. You wouldn't need a secondary weapon. You could pepper him with like your primary. So a glaive would be perfect in that room.
Absolutely, man.
Taking out all those thrall that keep running at you. But yeah, it depends on the boss, I suppose. So I mean, if you're thinking War Priest from Destiny 1, then maybe not, because that was more like you had to have your snipers, you had to have your rockets. It just depended.
But even now, the glaive would still do well in that scenario if you put a boss spec on it. You hold your shield up, right? Because now, with the changes Bungie's made, one glaive shot gives you a quarter of your meter, right? So 4 glaives gives you 100%. You pop your shield, and while the shield's up, you're still shooting him with the glaive, refilling that meter as your shield is using it. So even in that situation, it's still very viable. It's not just a melee weapon. It is absolutely a ranged weapon with a shield.
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
Yeah, it is. Ooh, love the glaive. I'm sorry. So good. But continue.
Allowing buffs to weapon damage to apply to glaive melees would be too powerful for something without an ammo limitation, particularly in PvP, where even a small damage buff would allow for increased fast 2-hit kills. Also, in general, we'd prefer to increase glaive melee damage directly, as we're doing in fact, instead of effectively making a weapon damage perk mandatory on glaives. Glaives already have a long lunge distance, and increasing this all results in unreliable behaviour over the network. So no melee lunge distance buff applies to glaives melees.
Yeah, that does suck. But here's the thing, if it's an underpowered punch, right? A Titan can... correct me if I'm wrong here. A Titan unpowered punch, I can still kill somebody with 2 punches. And so can a hunter, so can a warlock,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Underpowered. But that same underpowered punch takes the glaive 3 strikes.
No, sometimes it takes 2.
At full health?
Yeah.
Oh.
It depends. I think it probably depends on the resilience of the PvP player.
I mean, absolutely does, but like, still, I have yet to come across somebody that only took me 2 swipes. I've had to 3 swipe everybody.
No.
I mean, it's not that hard because the glaive is a faster melee, right? Especially if you're playing mouse and keyboard. A little bit of a tip out there, you guys. If you put your melee, right, on your scroll wheel, and not the scroll wheel button, but the scroll wheel itself, right? You can scroll and you melee faster than actually pressing down the button. Just so you know. And if you have one of those mice that have the free flying scroll wheel where you can just flick it once and it just keeps spinning, even better. So little pro tip out there for you guys. You glaive mains out there. But yeah, I always have to 3-hit a guardian thus far, unless they've taken damage. So, but yeah, so our intent is this: glaive melee should activate perks that trigger off base melee damage or kills. For example, ammo refill from Grave Robber, absolutely. Weapon damage buff 5 times stacks on Swashbuckler, absolutely. Ammo refill from Sealed Ahamkara Grasp, also absolutely. Glaive melee should not activate perks that trigger off powered melee damage or kills, or require expending subclass melee energy such as Combination Blow or Assassin's Cowl. Glaive melee should benefit from melee damage buffs such as Winter's Guile or Worm God's Caress, oh hell yes. And glaive melee should not benefit from weapon damage buffs such as Rampage, Kill Clip, or Swashbuckler, apparently unless you're shooting it. If you shoot the projectile, those do apply, if you guys were wondering. Glaive projectiles should benefit from weapon damage buffs. Also, the Swashbuckler, right now, if you tag somebody with the glaive and you kill them, it will activate Swashbuckler, but your melee isn't getting the extra damage. If you shoot the projectile, that'll get the damage buff from a Swashbuckler that you've just activated, in case you guys are wondering.
I was a bit disappointed when I crafted my glaive for the first time. I think it was when I did Grave Robber, so that when I meleeed, that it automatically reloaded. And I think I did Rampage, and I was so upset that the Rampage didn't work with just meleeing, because I was like meleeing everything possible. So it just wasn't a good combination. I mean, I suppose it did work, because I mean, I would stack up the Rampage with the projectiles and then melee something and automatically reload without having to worry and just carry on. Sure. So if you wanted to kind of build into that, it worked that way. But yeah, the melee thing I thought would have worked, but yeah.
Well, I mean, what I do with mine is I still have Rampage on there because I have the increased impulse amplifier and the increased Rampage, right? Because you're still tagging people. Well, now we have to tag people, right? In order to get our meter up so that we can use our weakness abilities on the glaive. And yeah, you tag one red bar, and you tag another one, and another one, another one, and that Rampage will stack, and then you can, finish out your magazine on like a yellow bar. So having the Rampage is still very advantageous, but it's advantageous for when you're shooting it, not necessarily when you're stabbing people with it. So when you got to refill that energy bar, Rampage works great. And then impulse amplifier, so your projectile flies a lot faster. You're more likely to hit your target. And that's how I have my glaive set up. I have those two things set up for when I have to refill my energy bar, and then I just go to town. Just hacking and slashing.
Yeah.
What's the last? Glaive projectiles should benefit from weapon damage buffs. Yes. With that expectation set, there are some inconsistencies with how these are implemented in-game, some of which we have already fixed, some of which we'll look at in the future. Once we have these guidelines consistently implemented in-game, we may look at specific classes where this doesn't match player expectation and do something custom. Updating descriptions were needed for clarification, but our primary goal is that players be able to predict how a glaive interaction will work. Yeah, bro, I just want to make sure that players be able to predict how glaive actions work. You know what I'm saying, bro?
So what did they change during Season 16?
Here's what we changed during Season 16, which is this one. Largely bug fixes, which with some quality of life changes. Blah. Glaive projectile hits to each maximum energy decreased from 6 to 4. Glaive melee can now be interrupted by a hunter dodge. I love The grave robber perk now pulls from reserves on glaives instead of generating ammo. Sad panda. Glaives no longer get stuck in clang recovery when using a melee attack on each other. That's awesome. Sealed Ahamkara Grasps no longer reloads glaives on projectile hits, but does on melee hits as expected. Glaive melees can no longer stun lock high health combatants. That's fine. You just have to learn how to time your shield. Glaive melee kills are now tracked in match history for bounties and so forth. Here's what's changing next season. We're pushing glaives deeper into their roles of hard-hitting melee damage and near complete protection when shielded. Thank you. As
Near
well as
complete.
yeah. I mean, it's better than what we have now. As well as increasing projectile speed to make them more reliable at range, which is why I have that perk on, because they are quite slow. No, the glaive shield grants 97.5% damage resistance in PvE, yet only 75% in PvP.
And that's better than what it is at the moment.
Yeah. Well, it says grants like it does now, not will grant.
Yeah, but this is what they're changing in Season 17.
Hmm.
Their verbiage of how they get this across to us is that they write it as that it's now live,
Okay.
but this at the top they said that this is Season 17.
Fair enough. Increased melee damage versus PvE enemies, yes, except for bosses and vehicles, no, by 25%. You're already one-shotting red bars. Why do you need that? I mean, I guess for the yellow bars, but still, meh.
Yeah, I mean, you think when you come across like a barrier champion, they're not classed as bosses, so that's still going to be increased by 25%.
They are increased by as vehicles though, which sucks. You know. What was it? The eyeball ones, the eyeball champions, the ogres. Those are
The
classified as
eyeballs.
vehicles.
Are
Well,
they?
yeah, they shoot the
Okay.
jizz out of their eyes, and for some reason they're classified as vehicles. So we're going to be doing. We're not going to get an increase in damage on those guys. The other champions, yeah, but those guys specifically, for some reason, are classified as vehicles because they're unstoppable. I guess I don't know. Whatever. Reduce energy drain speed while shielded by 30%. Excellent. Increase projectile speed dependent on the range stat. Okay, so if you got zero range, which is weird, you get an increase from 30 meters per second to 60 meters per second. When you're at max range, you get an increase from 80 meters per second to 100 meters per second. So at all levels, your glaive is going to fly faster. Now, for those of you like me that think a exotic glaive is not only a waste of an exotic slot, but also just not even as good a glaive
A
as
waste
its
of time.
legendary counterpart.
A waste of time, you mean?
Waste of everything. Waste of a slot, waste of an exotic, waste of time.
You're not wrong, so we're just going to move over it and carry on. No.
So, no, here we go. Well, this supposedly is going to fix that issue. We'll see.
I don't think it's going to fix. I think it's going to make it interesting to maybe use slightly.
So, exotic glaives have all been buffed. Yay! In addition to the global glaive changes, which make it easier to build energy, projectile speed, making landing shots easier, and energy granted per projectile hit. The Titan Glaive, Edge of Action. Players now gain a Void Overshield while inside of your glaive bubble. And Helm of Saint 14 now applies to this bubble as it does for the Word of Dawn. Kind of cool. Super Bubble Titan. You know, you got your regular bubble, then you have your glaive bubble. That theoretically could have big implications on some high-end activity.
I'll tell you a quick story about this. I got my Titan Glaive through various, like jumping through all the hoops and getting it.
Yeah.
I start to use it in activities and I'm like, where is this bubble? I cannot find how to use this bubble. And it wasn't until I listened to a podcast, I think it was last night, where they said you have to get like about 6 kills first before you can charge it up to use the bubble. I'm like, well, that's where I'm going wrong. But I looked on the description of the weapon going, it doesn't tell me that I need to charge it up. I'm
Nope.
sure it doesn't. And I'm like pushing all these different buttons. I'm throwing out grenades instead of like actually. I'm like, what am I doing wrong?
See,
It's like,
what you're doing wrong is you didn't watch the Astacross video when these first became available, and he told you, Astacross and Fallout both told you have to charge it to full to use this exotic perk. That's where you
I
went
just
wrong.
wanted to get it and play with it. But it should be on. It should be on the weapon. There should be some kind of description to say, X amount of charge up will give you like the bubble.
Mm-hmm.
So I just put it in my vault and just went there.
The Warlock Glaive, Edge of Intent. You get increased speed and acceleration of the healing turret projectiles. So they were actually already really good, and this is going to make them even better. So
That's what I've heard anyway. Yeah, at the moment they're really, really good. So this is going to make them better.
And the Hunter Glaive, Edge of Concurrence. This glaive is absolute ass, but tripled the damage. Let me say that again. Tripled the damage.
And you say they hate the hunters.
Well, they'd have to triple it because right now it just tickles red bars. Triple the damage of the wave detonation. Increase the number of enemies it can chain to from 4 to 8. That is a heavily needed change because right now it is completely useless.
Again, these are kind of PvE changes because you imagine, like I said, with the Titan one, having to run around, kill 6 people first before using that bubble in PvP is quite a feat. I think it's going to be only...
Well, now it's 4.
But it's only going to be like top tier players that can do that, go around and kill X amount of Guardians first and then be able to pop a bubble.
Well, yeah, you're only going to start off with 2 rounds to begin with, right? So you have to kill somebody, get more special ammo, and then... Yeah.
But I'm saying this is more of a PvE change to make
absolutely
them better
PvE.
in PvE.
100%. Yeah. No, absolutely. And we have some global changes. Now we're getting into the flinch.
Okay. Tell us about the flinch.
Okay. Okay. Aim deflection on receiving damage, typically called flinch, is a common pain point, particularly on primary ammo weapons. We've rebuilt the stability weapon stat to grant flinch resistance in addition to its other effects. Nice. With a maximum flinch resistance of 10% to 25% dependent on the weapon archetype. So pulse rifles are going to be really good. Auto rifles are going to be really good. Fusion rifles supposedly going to be really good.
Come on, get to it.
With this change, players can build for flinch resistance more easily on weapons that feel flinch more than others, and less so on special weapons, which we don't want to be easier to use when under fire. Fair enough.
And what I take from that is when they say that they've rebuilt it, is that they've broken it. So just be aware next season when all of this comes in, and you get a bizarre muzzle flash on an auto rifle that wasn't there this season, that is now there next season, or your flinch, you're kind of reaching for the birds, and they go, well, that'll be in a patch note coming like later on. Just be aware when they do things like this, they do have a tendency to break things because they're doing this to all weapons. All weapons are being changed with this.
Oh yeah. From internal playtests, you may not feel the difference when using just one source of flinch resistance. But when stacking 2 or more sources, the benefit is strong. Note that higher zoom weapons are more affected by flinch, which we took into account when tuning these numbers. I'm sure you did. Here's the breakdown for... I mean, come on, it's Bungie. Here's the breakdown for flinch resistance with 100% stability. Not percent, sorry, 100 stability, which not a lot of weapons have, but here we go.
Mm-hmm.
You get an additional 25% flinch resistance with auto rifles, submachine guns, and a bow. Because when we're using a bow, stability is definitely the stat we look for. You get 20% flinch resistance on pulse rifles, scout rifles, sidearms, and machine guns.
I know you've just said that about bows, but when I use my Le Monarch and I get flinched really heavily, even though I've spec'd into unflinching on my chest piece to make sure that I don't get flinched. I've got double flinch for a bow, and it just knocks me sideways. I really want this on the bow because I think with the masterwork on it, it does give you better stability. So that will also spec into helping
Yeah, but a
negate
stability
some of
on a
that
bow
flinch.
doesn't make any sense though, right? Because like, okay, you fire your bow. By the time you've knocked another arrow into your bow, you're already back at your central point of aim, right? So increasing stability doesn't help you there. On a
No,
bow, you want accuracy,
no, but
obviously.
if you're holding that bow waiting for that headshot, so they've hit you first and you're
Uh-huh.
waiting for that bow to come back down to get the headshot. I think with more stability, it's going to help you hit that headshot quicker than it is to kind of come out of it and reposition.
I mean,
So
yeah, once
it's something I'm
stability
looking
also
forward to,
helps with
especially
flinch, but not right
as a
now.
Titan, auto rifles, submachine guns, even pulse rifles and scouts.
Mm-hmm. For Micah, he loves his sidearms, so he's gonna love that. My PvP buddy.
Yeah.
For hand cannons, you get a 15% reduction in flinch at max stability. So all of your rapid fire hand cannons, they're gonna be doing really well because they have a tendency to have high stability, right? And trace rifles, oddly enough, trace rifles are apparently getting a lot of buffs next season. I'm looking forward to that. And you only get 10% for fusion rifles, shotguns, sniper rifles, grenade launchers, both breach and drum, linear fusion rifles, both special and heavy, and rocket launcher. Note that the stability stat of below 20 will technically have a small flinch resistance penalty. Ha! That's gonna be fun. But only around 5 weapons have a stability stat in that range. Wonderful. Mentioning here, what's that?
I was going to say, let's face it, if you're firing a rocket that has no stability and all it's got is blast radius and projectile speed, you don't really care. If it's tracking that item, you don't care if you've got flinched.
No, not at all. Especially the Gallahorn. Oh my god, you flinched me. You see the rocket make a 90-degree turn towards its enemy. Oh my god, what do I do? Mentioning it here because it's a related change. The resilience character stat. Again,
this is what you mentioned earlier.
Resilience character stat now grants flinch resistance of 0% at 0 and 10% at 100. So, passive Titan buff, unless you're some kind of psychotic hunter that prioritizes resilience over mobility.
I do, and I appreciate that.
Examples. Note that sources of flinch resistance stack multiplicatively. At a 100% stability stat, Suros Pulse Rifle with Suros Energy active and 10 resilience with no distractions and 2 unflinching Pulse Rifle armor. What the? So basically, okay, we'll start over. So you got a Suros Pulse Rifle. It's got 100 stability in the stat, right? You have Suros Synergy active, which means you've just reloaded this Pulse Rifle. You have 10 resilience, you have no distractions, and 2 unflinching pulse rifle armor mods, while buffed by a rally barricade. Jesus Christ. So you have 0.8 times 0.8 times 0.9 times 0.65 times 0.7 times 0.5, which equals 0.1 times flinch, which I guess equates to a 90% flinch resistance, because this makes perfect sense.
Yeah, but who's going to have all of that?
That's what I'm saying, dude. What the hell? And here you have
nobody's going to have no distractions. They might have 2 unflinching perks for the pulse rifles.
Yeah.
They're not always going to be standing behind their rally barricade. I can see where, I could see where they're going to the extreme of showing you these numbers.
Yeah. It's the perfect world scenario right here. Max, the most you can get is 90% flinch resistance. That is insane.
I'll be back in a second.
All right, a 70 stat hand cannon with 5 resilience and 1 unflinching hand cannon armor mod is 0.91 times 0.95 times 0.07, which equals 0.61 or 39% flinch resistance. Like, yeah, just, pop a rally barricade, reload your pulse rifle, have these two things on, and yeah, you got 90% flinch resistance. I mean, it's so aggravating. Like they wouldn't notice that they gave a passive buff to every single Titan out there. It's just, why tie it to resilience? It's something that is directly tied to a class freaking, ability. You could have tied it to anything else. You could have tied it even more with stability. You could have tied it with anything but resilience. Son of a... Damn it, man. Airborne gunplay. Before getting into build crafting, we've made a fundamental change to the modifiers applied while airborne. Well, thank you. Your primary weapons will have less randomness and projectile accuracy in most cases. You'll have less aim assist instead, and will need precise aiming to land your shots while building heavily into airborne. This opening sentence right here, I think, is directly tied to the Hunter's Stompy's nerf. Now, I will preface this by saying I wasn't upset about the nerf because I don't use Stompies, right? I'm not a PvP player. Stompies aren't a big part of my arsenal. I may, once in a while, pull them out just because I don't want to have to deal with a jumping puzzle, right? But that's it. So a lot of people were not attacking me, but they were like, how can you not be upset? Well, because I don't use them for that, But I get where PvP players are going to be very upset about the Stompy change. And this opening sentence right here, I think, ties into Hunter arrogance, right? Because Hunters, myself included, have always claimed that we always have to do more with less. We're a better class of player. We're a better class of character because Bungie's always nerfing us and taking our stuff, right? This right here is in direct retaliation to Hunter saying this stuff because they're like, all right, you know what? You want to talk smack? You want to talk about how good you are? Fine. We're going to take away all of your aim assist, but we will make you more accurate. So where your round is aiming is where your round will go, right? The bullet bloom is going to be significantly smaller for Hunters, but we'll also be losing our aim assist. So if you're on mouse and keyboard, when you already don't have a lot of aim assist, this is doubly going to affect you. So this opening sentence right here, in my opinion, is a slap in the to every hunter that uses Stompies in PvP. And I'm a little... Right? Whatever. Bungie wants to challenge hunters, that's fine. We'll be the best just like we always have been, and we will continue to do so. We've added a new weapon stat, Airborne Effectiveness, which is present on all weapons. They haven't added it now. This is next season. The verbiage is weird. Which is present on all weapons except those where being airborne doesn't have an effect. Swords, as an example, which maps into aspects of airborne gunplay using these guidelines. With little to no investment in the airborne stats, so 0 to 30%, I guess, a character will have a smaller accuracy penalty than retail, but will have significantly lower aim assist. You hear that? So your accuracy penalty will be less, which means your bullets will go where you aim, but your aim assist will be significantly lower. So if you aim just to the left of some guy's head, that's where your bullet's going to go. The bullet magnetism will not pull it towards his head. All right? With minimal investment, 31 to 50 airborne stat, a character will have around the same in-air accuracy as Icarus-equipped weapons do currently, but with noticeably lower aim assist. Again, that aim assist is going to be a thing. It's going to be a thing. With substantial investment of 51 to 70, a character will have better accuracy than retail weapons with Icarus, with fewer misses due to randomness, but with reduced aim assist. And with specialized investment, 71 to 99 airborne stat, a character will have no airborne accuracy penalty, with very slightly less aim assist. And if you max it out, a character will have no airborne accuracy penalty and the same aim assist. So no matter what you do when you're airborne, no matter what you're wearing, you're taking an aim assist penalty, except for Warlocks. And we'll get into that. So Titans now have passive flinch resistance, and warlocks have passive air accuracy, and hunters, well, we get nothing, guys, and that's just how it is. So, sorry, just more of the
Because
same.
Bungie don't love you, remember?
They don't love us, no, but whatever. Here we go. The stat that's been tuned on all exotic weapons. I'm sorry, this stat has been hand tuned on all exotic weapons. Everything that's shipped in season 16 or 17, and everything that's ever shipped as Trials of Osiris or Nightfall loot. Older legendary weapons have a default value set per weapon archetype. Set per weapon archetype due to a value just below the middle of the allowed stat range.
Which basically means that they couldn't be bothered to do
Exactly.
the ones that have previously come. We've only tuned the ones that have recently come.
This will be a hidden stat at Season 17 launch. Now, they said you're going to see it, but just not at launch. They're going to take some time. Sometime in Season 17 is when you'll be able to see it, supposedly.
Season 18.
Okay, well, let's read further then, shall we?
Yeah.
It won't be available at Season 17 launch, similar to aim assist and recoil direction. You'll be able to check the stat on specific weapons through the API. Okay, so it'll be available through the API in Season 17.
So you'll be able to see it in... Sorry.
Dim, yep. In Season 18, several previously hidden stats will be visible on the weapon inspection screen. And I really hope that includes recoil direction, right?
Well, it sounds like everything that you can see in Destiny Item Manager, anything you can see in D2 Gunsmith, any of the third-party websites that you can go to look at these weapons and see their stats and see all the hidden stats, like the recoil direction and what they're, this
airborne accuracy,
the airborne accuracy that they're now putting on there, is going to be visible from those points in the API. And then going into Season 18, everything should be on the weapons, and it looks like they're going to give us full disclosure on everything, which is nice because we've been asking for so many years, and I think it's taken at least the last 3 years that I've been listening to the Destiny Community podcast, where they've had the design leads on, the gun leads on, just all these people.
I think they need to pay us for advertising.
Put it in.
Plug them.
I plug everybody. I told you, I've got no shame in that. I listen to as much as I can. I watch as much as I can, which is why I tell people to go and listen to the Last Word podcast, the Destiny Community podcast, the Guardian Hub, Guardian Down, just all as many Destiny things that you can get hold of to listen to.
Listen to us, obviously.
Well, they're currently listening to us.
Yeah, but after you listen to us and you go listen to them.
You can mix it up. You don't have to listen to us every week.
Yeah, you do.
It's nice if you just...
to him. No. Shut your face. You have to listen to us every week.
No. You don't have to listen to us. Just click the download button just so it looks like you're listening to us.
No. I am an attention whore. I want them to listen to us, okay? Unless for some reason I'm not there, in which case you're excused. You don't have to listen to the show. But every show that I'm a part of, you better be listening.
No, you don't have to.
Yes, you do. This stat stop arguing. This stat influences several aspects of airborne gameplay. That's a lot of numbers. Okay,
that is a lot of numbers.
That's a lot of numbers. All right.
But just a quick question before we kind of go into those numbers to give you a bit of a break. Do you think that these changes that they're doing with making people build into either being a jumpy sky angel killing machine or running around and actually taking the flinch and like being a tank like a Titan, as you put it to start off with, this is kind of widening the skill gap for players, and it's making
significantly more. Yes,
I know it's making people make a choice, because you could be that unflinching sky monster that you could devastate everybody, or you could be running around with a shotgun and just take no damage or no flinch, whatever. And they really want people to hone in on what they actually want to have in their kind of arsenal. That, if you want to be a bouncy Titan, you can do that, and you can negate some of the airborne inaccuracies and things like that. But you're not going to be able to be unflinchable. You're not going to be able to do this. You're not going to be able to do that. And I think,
why not? They don't have to lose resilience.
Because I think that way...
They just need stability on their guns, dude. They can still have 100% resilience and stability on their guns.
No, not necessarily. that's the way they're making people build into. You have to build into that preference. So if you're going into trials and you see those other three on the other side lined up, you can do a quick inspection of them to see how they're going to be playing against you. So if you see three warlocks on the other side, you can see that, you know, one spec to be like this aircraft machine, like raining down fire on you. You can react to that and play against that. You know, just I think that's where we're kind of getting. They're not getting to the point of esports, but we're getting to the point of making conscious decisions of how you play the game and building into how
It's
you want to
absolutely
kind
going
of
to be more
combat.
difficult to play PvP as a noob, or even me who's been doing it for a while. It's going to be harder for me to play. You know,
it's going to be difficult for if you're going into things like trials and maybe the competitive playlist, because again, as I said, they're going to be changing that up in the next couple of seasons, and I think that's why they're getting people used to it now, because of the changes that are coming with the glory playlist.
yeah.
They want to make it so that it is a choice to go into said playlist and play as that. And yes, it's going to make it harder for people like the average skill players to go in and play.
Mm-hmm.
But I think with what they've done with trials, giving you the solo playlists and giving solo players and average players a little bit of a kind of step up and a bit of a help to get into that and play, you know, maybe not play against such top teams, but have a chance of matching up against good players or having good players on your team.
That
Is
has
always
nothing
quite
to
helpful.
do with that. That's skill based matchmaking or connection based matchmaking. That's something
No, but
completely different.
say you get an average player go into trials for the first time, and they've got a god tier player on their team. It gives them some kind of hope that they may get like 5 or 6 wins on their card if they can keep matching up with similar players or better skilled players.
Uh-huh.
So I think that is a good thing that they've kind of done that. But if you're saying that you're going to go into the glory playlist and or if you're going into trials each week with a team, unless you're specced into actually combating other teams that are going to be utilizing these new ways of building, it's like you said, it's going to be quite hard for the average skill players. It's quite a steep learning curve to suddenly change the way that you play and understand how these things are going to be implemented in the game.
So, TLDR for most of the weapons. I'm looking through this. I'll handle shotguns and fusion rifles separately, but for most weapons, the in-air accuracy is going to do this. The less you put into the in-air accuracy, the higher your penalty to accuracy is going to be, and the higher your penalty to aim assist is going to be, up until you get to a maximum stat, in which case you will have default aim assist and high accuracy, right? So that's TLDR on that. That's a lot of numbers. I'm not reading those, but that's basically it. The more you spec into this, the better your aim assist and the better your accuracy while airborne. Full stop.
You want smaller cones, basically. You don't want big cones. You want smaller cones.
Itty bitty coney monies.
And I do remember somebody saying that if you are still accurate in air without having to rely on the cones and things like that, you're still going to get the good players are still going to be good. Basically, you're
but
not
the
going to be
accuracy stat is also penalized depending on how much you've invested into the airborne stat.
Yes, but if you've got that reticle on that person's head and you take that shot, you are more likely to get that kill.
Then this season, yes.
No, in the following season. If you're still accurate without having to rely on aim assist and the cones, if you are still that good a player that like you said before, ZK Mushroom, Aztecross, if they've rocked up into Crucible and they've got you in their sights, it doesn't matter how much that they're being penalized. If they are good at being accurate at shooting you, it's not going to affect them as much.
Yeah, I guess. But I mean, because that's what I thought initially when somebody was reading the TWAB. It sounded like you get higher accuracy next season, but lower aim assist. But this right here says you're also getting a penalty to accuracy, and now that's confusing me.
Again, you have to build into it if you're going to be jumping around and you're going to be using weapons that have the Icarus mod on it. If you've got stats on your armor that build into it, you're not going to be affected as much, but you're going to have to build into it. You will lose out in other areas of your gameplay if you utilize other areas of your gameplay now.
Yeah. So, yeah, what he's saying, okay, so getting to the fusion rifles and machine guns and sniper rifles. This controls how forgiving your headshots are while airborne. If this stat is at 0, you must be pinpoint aiming precisely at the head to get the headshot. Otherwise, you'll get a body shot, even if your aim assist cone overlaps the head. So you hear that? The cone, even if the cone says you have an opportunity to get a headshot, if you don't spec into it, you're going to get more likely a body shot than that headshot with these weapons. And previously, while airborne, players would get a full aim assistance for headshot, provided their aim assist cone overlapped the head at all. No longer the case. Now, when your aim assist, unless you spec into airborne, if your cone overlaps the head, it's still going to give you the body shot because you haven't spec'd into airborne accuracy. So you have to be pinpoint accurate if you want to get that shot. Okay. Pellet shotgun spread angles while airborne is increased by 25% at the 0 stat. And at the 100 stat, the shotgun spread is 0. Yeah. So, I mean, it's 0 meaning you're not being penalized for it. You're still going to have the same shotgun spread you have while you're on the ground. Yeah. So, don't think that when you're in the air, all of your pellets now turn into a slug. That's no. No. With 0, you have 25% more spread. At 100%, you have your default spread while in air. Mm-hmm. What this means overall is that you'll get fewer misses due to randomness from the accuracy cone while airborne, but reliance on aiming is much higher at a low stat. To make this easier for you, you will need to build into airborne. With decent aim, you will land more body shots instead of crits. Before and after examples of accuracy cone penalty. Hand cannons. No.
More numbers.
More numbers.
No.
We're not going to give you these numbers. But when you're in the air and you don't have specs into the airborne accuracy, you're going to do worse. Is what that's all this says. That's, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. Even more weapons. Even more. Oh, this is giving you each individual weapon, how it was tuned individually. If you want to know how your specific weapon was tuned, there's a list in the TWAB. Go read it. Fun. And here is where we get to the subclasses. The Heat Rises ability on Warlocks give them plus 70. Plus 70 airborne stat, right? So, absolutely bonkers. So, if you're a Warlock and you use your Heat Rises ability, you get plus 70 to your airborne stat to every weapon you have while Heat Rises is active. That's crazy. That's so crazy. The Tempered Metal ability gives you plus 20 after getting a solar weapon kill. The Whisper of Hedron's Stasis Fragment gives you, again, plus 20 after freezing a target. Exotic armor that revolves around being airborne or works on specific weapons grants a bonus or penalty in the negative 50 to the plus 40 range or higher if conditional. That negative 50. Chat. Who wants to guess, without looking at this list, what the negative 50 belongs to?
Oh, stop going on about it.
No. If you said Stompies, yes, Stompies is the only one that gets a negative 50 across the board. That's ridiculous. Yeah.
It's because the hunters have crutched on it for too long.
I mean, look, as a hunter, like I said before, I don't use them. It's not my forte. I have Orpheus rigs on, or I have, if I'm playing PvP, I have the helmet that heals you, or the arms that make your throwing knife better. Right? That's me. But I know most other hunters do, in fact, crutch on Stompies. Full stop. Right? And I get that they're crutching on it. But even with that into account, a negative 50 is an extreme.
But with that, isn't the Stompies giving you the ability to change directions a little bit more of a bonus to the triple jump or whatever jump that you have?
No,
active?
you don't get stronger recoil control or stronger direction control. You get
Do you
higher
not?
jumps and you
Yeah.
get faster running.
Well, then why do you need the other part?
And
of
it gives you a bonus to in-air accuracy, I think.
Well, no, I think
it.
it doesn't now next season.
Well, yeah. You're right.
But yeah, I mean, it's already got good things for it, and if you want to kind of build into that with faster sprint speed or higher jumps, then that's also going to kind of get you in and out of danger.
Increases
which
sprint speed, slide distance, improves high jump. Oh, it improves strafe jump if you're using strafe jump.
Well, there you go. I mean, it's got so many strings to its bow. It's really still quite a good exotic.
But it doesn't even have a stat for in-air accuracy. That's not even a part of the Stompies.
Well, no, because I think just at base, if you put them on, it'll give you minus 50 next season.
Well, yeah, next season, but right now there's no bonus. So
but that's
have something that doesn't give you a bonus and give it a negative 50 is.
You've just told us the bonuses. You've just told us the bonuses.
Yeah, to like
slide,
but it doesn't
sprint,
create accuracy
and strafe abilities.
Yeah,
it's really good.
Weapon accuracy, though. That's the thing. But
thing
now, if you wear it, you're going to get a penalty to your weapon accuracy in air.
Yeah, but you can also negate that with putting various different mods and weapons on your.
You gotta do a lot just to get rid of the negative. Forget getting a positive.
But just put something else on.
Do
you said that you don't even need Stompies basically for how you play. Exactly, and there's going to be a lot of hunters out there that also still do not need the Stompies.
It doesn't matter. For it to be a negative 50 is my problem. If you want to make it a negative 10, negative 20, whatever, but a negative 50, that is the highest detriment of any other thing.
No, it could go 100. It could go higher. Let's not just say that's the high. It could go higher. It's extreme, and Bungie like to swing the pendulum to extremes of one side or the other.
Jesus Christ, man! And even in all these other weapons, we'll get into it. Okay, check it out, guys. Foe Tracer, you get a plus 20 accuracy to everything, right? I don't even know what that is. That's Titan, right? Foe Tracer. Mechaneer's Trick Sleeves gives you a plus 50 to sidearms, which makes sense. They're built for sidearms. Okay. Oathkeeper gives you plus 40 to bows. There you go. Demon, if you're rocking Le Monarch, you're already wearing Oathkeeper. There's your plus 40.
Hang on a second. Let's go back. Foe Tracer.
What?
Think about it.
Oh, that's not true helmet. I'm a dumbass. I never use it.
That improves. It gives you that tracking on low health like combatants, and it also improves your weapon damage, doesn't it?
I don't know. I never used the damn thing. That's why I didn't remember what it was.
If you're wearing that in air, plus 20.
Let's see. Oh, I have a Foe Tracer. Let's see. Visually marks targeted enemies, deals more damage to low health marked enemies. Okay, yeah. It's a super discounted one-eyed mask.
I love the fact that Oathkeepers get plus 40 to bows.
Yeah, well,
amazing.
It makes sense. Yeah, that's what they're supposed to do. Yeah, I got it, Golden. I brain farted, dude. Already yelling at me in the chat. Yeah, I know. Sealed Ahamkara Grasps. That's also Hunter. Shut up. Gives you a plus 50 to all, but for only 5 seconds after a melee hit. Lucky Pants gives plus 20 to hand cannons. Makes sense. After readying a hand cannon. I wonder how long that lasts, though. After you ready a hand cannon, is it plus 20 while you have the hand cannon out? Or is there a timer?
There's a timer on the readying of the hand cannon, isn't there, from the Lucky Pants?
I don't know.
Yeah. So it'll probably be for, I think, 5-10 seconds, whatever it is on the after pulling it out.
For the buff, for the damage buff, it's 10 seconds.
Well, there you go then.
But I don't know if that's the ready speed timer or whatever.
Pull it out, jump in the air, bang, bang, bang. That's it. Last word done.
No backup plans. Stompies, negative 50 to all.
Oh, we've gone over that. Stop going on about it.
Full stop. No backup
It's a play style. It's a play style. If you want to play into the Stompies, you use
Holy
that.
Shit. I'm looking at the list, and not only are Stompies negative 50, Stompies are the only ones that are negative. on the whole list.
Use something
Everybody else is
else.
positive.
There's
Anyway,
so many other great hunter exotics that you could
backup
use.
plans. No backup plans. Is plus 30 to shotguns. That is a Titan, right? That's Titan pants, isn't it? No, arms.
Gauntlets.
That gives you plus 30 in air accuracy for shotguns. So even more Titan whole W.
No, they've nerfed them things. They're not worth even putting.
Well,
on.
they're about to butt them, so there you go.
No, but even then, that's still not worth it.
War Pig gives plus 30 to auto rifles and machine guns.
Do they not understand how Actium War Rig?
130s.
No. Do they not understand how Actium War Rig works? You stand on the ground behind a barricade or just walk forward with a sweet business. You don't jump in the air with that auto rifle.
Well, yeah, but now you can hold down the sweet business trigger and jump through the
jump
air.
Up and down. Yeah. I could see many Titans do that. That's not going to happen.
Hollow Fire Heart gives you plus 20 to all across the board.
Okay.
Hollow Fire Heart, that's the Titan chest piece, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Lion Rampart gives plus Lion Rampant
gives you Rampart.
No, it says Rampant right there. Lion Rampant.
Okay.
Gives you plus 50, but only if you hit fire, which is weird.
That's built into the Lion Rampants. If you do hit fire on weapons, it gives you
and
accuracy.
I guess that includes shotguns. So Lion Rampart gives you stronger melee in the air and apparently better accuracy on your shotguns. Damn it. Peacekeepers plus 40 to submachine guns. I could see that. Yep. So Peacekeepers and Lion Ramparts are about to be really, really common because shotgun bonuses or submachine gun bonuses. That's crazy. Peregrine Greaves. Oh no, Peregrine Greaves gives you the extra melee damage in the air, right?
Yes.
Okay.
You have to jump, don't you?
Yeah.
Jump and melee, yeah.
I thought that was Lion Rampant, my bad. So Peregrine Greaves gives you plus 20 across the board. Eye of Another World gives you 15 across the board. Astrocyte Verse gives you plus 30
nobody uses
across the board. I don't know what that is. Ophidian Aspect, which is the Warlock Crutch, gives plus 10 to all. And Necrotic Grips give plus 30 to Weapons of Sorrow. So that's what? The Thorn and what's the other one that poison? I guess the new submachine gun would be a Weapon of Sorrow, right? The ones that poison, right? Aren't those Weapons of Sorrow? Lomonarch, Thorn,
Vox Obscura?
No. Vox Obscura, yeah. I think those would be Weapons of Sorrow, right?
Maybe Lumina?
I don't know.
Is that a weapon of...
Let's check it out. Let's
Malfeasance?
Weapons of Sorrow. There are only 2 confirmed Weapons of Sorrow, the hand cannon known as Thorn and the auto rifle known as Necrochasm.
That's going way back. That's Destiny 1 you're looking at.
Yeah, it is. Holy crap.
You have to preference it with Destiny 2.
No, that was actually 2022, March 25th, 2022.
Wow.
Yeah.
Maybe it's coming back. Making a return. Where did you get the Necrochasm from before?
The raid.
Which raid?
And you had to build it. You didn't just get it. You got you got the base white auto rifle, then you had to use it, and then it would get upgraded to a legendary. Then you have to use it more, and then it would get upgraded to the exotic. If I remember it correctly.
Didn't you have to get a Crux of Crota and then still take it into Kingsfall raid? So you had to do...
I don't know.
I think you had to do the Dark Below raid to get a Crux from Crota, which was like a really bizarre drop.
Yep.
To turn it into the Necrochasm, to then... Yeah, I think. Maybe still... I can't remember if you had to even go into Kingsfall.
I had it, and I went through all the stuff.
Maybe that was Touch of Malice, and I'm just kind of mixing all the exotic weapons. Anyway.
No, Touch of Malice was just a drop. You just got Touch of Malice.
No, you had to collect the calcified fragments.
For Touch of Malice?
Yeah.
Touch of Malice is the one that as you shot it, it killed you.
Yeah, I'm sure you had to collect the calcified fragments on the Dreadnought.
Because I collected all the calcified fragments.
There you go.
I never got that gun. Because I never got it to drop from the raid, dude. I never got any D1 exotics.
Look,
ever.
I can't... Look, that was like 6-7 years ago now. I can't remember.
I'm pretty sure it had to be a drop, dude. Or something related to a boss drop. Because I never got that gun. I always wanted it. I never got it.
Calcified fragments. There was a quest step. You had to get calcified fragments.
Yeah, and I got all the calcified fragments from
We
the
obviously
ship.
didn't finish the quest.
I did.
You obviously didn't if you didn't get the weapon.
Man, I'm telling you, there was something extra. There was
Anyway,
something that had to do with the damn
we've
boss.
got off topic.
Wings of
Weapons of
Sacred
Sorrow.
Dawn plus 50 across the board. Wow. So you get, if you have Wings of Sacred Dawn and you eat your grenade, you have a plus 120 to in-air accuracy. That's some... That is...
What happens if you put on Skyburner's Oath and the Wings of Sacred Dawn?
Jesus Christ, man. Come on. Like, so you already get a passive 50 when you eat a passive 70 when you eat a grenade. Now you get a passive 50 when you wear Wings of Sacred Dawn, which I believe you would be wearing on that subclass
Again,
anyway.
These are things you're going to have to build into. You'll see this on the opposing team. You will see people having to rock these exotics, these builds. You're just going to have to be a bit more observant of who you're playing against.
Wow. Next season, Warlocks don't give
Just
a
look
shit
up.
about in-air accuracy. They've always got 100.
Just look up.
Damn. You're going to have to look up with all these flying Warlocks. Jesus Christ. Boots of the Assembler plus 30 to Lumina specifically.
Again, you're standing in a rift. You're not going to be bouncing up and down.
And there's a redacted exotic that's going to give you plus 30 to fusion rifles and linear fusion rifles. Yeah, I know cap is at 100, but they get 50 plus 70, dude. So yeah, they get over the cap, is what I'm saying. That's how ridiculous this is. That's insane.
This is the wrong week to take you through numbers.
Right? God, you know what? You read the rest. I'm dejected at this point. Titans get passive freaking, flinch resistance. Don't even
this
have to
means
worry
that
about
in
this.
general, if you want good airborne effectiveness, say stat of 70, you should pick a weapon with a high stat, put Icarus Grip on it, and either equip an exotic armor piece that helps or run a subclass aspect or fragment or ability. And if you want to be the best possible airborne effectiveness, you'll generally have to go all in on a weapon, exotic armor, and subclass.
No, I disagree. Hold on. Let's change this right here, right there. If you want the best possible airborne effectiveness, play Warlock. Full stop.
Okay.
How high can you get? You got the 70 plus the 50, plus if you get an Icarus mod, plus
Look, they've given you examples. So, Frontier's Cry with Precision Hand Cannon bonus, Icarus Grip, and Lucky Pants, so Hunters, is 19 plus 25 plus 15 plus 20 equals 79 airborne effectiveness. Submission, Icarus Grip, Stompies, and Tempered Metal active. So that's 27 plus 15 minus 50 plus 20 equals 12 airborne effectiveness. Titans with Terraba, Peacekeepers, and Whispers of Hedron active is 23 plus 40 plus 20 equals 83 airborne effectiveness. And the Warlocks with their Skyburner's Oath and Heat Rising is 35 plus 70 equals 100 because it's capped, and they win. There you go. This is a big weapon system change. We'll be monitoring how it rolls out and expect to make adjustments post-ship. For fun, here are some graphs showing the most used armor exotics across each class. We'll be watching data and feedback once these changes are live to see how things are shifting. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know if we can zoom. Oh, I can zoom in on these. So they document, I think it was going back from... I think somebody in one of the podcasts I was listening to said that they've documented this since January. And literally, Stompies have about 50% for the Hunters. You have, I think it's, what is that? Some people actually rock no exotic, which is bizarre. But in the 12 this week, they've got like a breakdown of the most used exotics for each class. And as I said, like Stompies are at like 50%. For the Titans, I think it was split between, what was it? It was the new helmet. It was the Laurely Splendor helmet and Mask of the Quiet One, which is another Titan helmet. And it gives you a kind of rough breakdown of how often these things are used. Ophidian Aspects, again, another one for the Warlocks, is over 50% used. but then they've got quite a lot of like Phoenix Protocol and
They didn't even bother putting Stompies on the side. They just wrote it in the graph itself.
but they did with the Ophidian aspects as well.
Did they? I don't
Yeah.
see that. Oh, is it the other graph?
Yeah, it's further down below.
Oh,
Aeon
okay.
Souls are in there as well. So people have been using Aeon Soul as well. But if you are if you genuinely are interested in the TWAB, they go over the usages for these exotics with nice little colours. So you have to match up the colours to see which one you're right on. Playlist weapons.
This
The
is
latest-
not a graph colorblind friendly. This is really
No, it isn't. No, it's definitely
So I'm
not
trying to see
colorblind.
what like is well, okay, they listed it also on the side in the same order. I see. No, they didn't. I lied. I have no idea. I can't even tell what's 100%. Is that Aeon Swift? Is that at 100%?
No, Astrocyte Verse.
I can't tell the color. Bungie, that's a stupid way to make a graph. You're stupid. Stop being stupid.
Hang on.
Stupid face.
Does it? Yeah. Does it? Maybe it starts at the top. Aeon Soul, Apotheosis Veil, Astrocyte Verse. Then Boots of the Assembler is quite small. Then you've got Chromatic Fire underneath that. Claws of Ahamkara is the dark green. I don't know if you can see that. Controverse Hull is the big block of green. So yeah, it goes down in colour. So as the colours, it starts at the top with the Aeon Soul at 100%, and then all the way down to.
Like I can't even see the color for Crown of Tempest. Like this is a stupid.
Don't you worry about it. You don't use it anyway.
Damn it. All right, moving on. Playlist weapons.
Moving on to playlist weapons. The latest playlist weapon drops from Gambit, Crucible, and Strike activity completions. Older weapons are available from vendor-ranked packages or can be focused. So we have the shotgun that I think you pointed out last week in your video, didn't you? Remember the name of it?
Body shot.
The one-shot body shot. We've got the hand cannon that some YouTubers are raving about with the Omolon and some aren't. And then we've got the high-impact Gambit one. Auto rifle, sorry.
I've tried using that auto rifle. It's so bad. Even in Gambit. It's just not good.
That's all right.
Oh, you can mark incoming enemies. Well, yay.
These weapons are intended to provide interesting drops for every player who spends a lot of time in an activity. And while we want to keep a large perk pool to address these goals, we want to provide a way to reduce the duration of the chase for players who want specific weapons. Also, since the older playlist weapons are still available as vendor rank up rewards, we want them to feel more relevant in the post-origin trait world. So playlist weapons now have a chance to roll with extra traits in one or both columns, increasing with the number of ranks reset with that vendor during a given season. So if you're like Peroty and you play numerous amounts of Gambit and you've reset your rank about 5 or 6 times in one season, you'll have more of a chance to get the extra traits in one or both columns for those weapons being dropped. Note, reputation resets each season, so you'll need to play through these activities each season to unlock the potential for extra perks, and all playlist weapons from Beyond Light and later will drop with the appropriate origin trait. Stat display update. Following the recent change to show numbers for all stats instead of just bars, we've opted to change the stat display on weapons to more clearly reflect their capabilities. All weapon stat bars now range from 0 to 100 instead of being limited to some range in the middle of the bar. This change eliminates rounding and other errors, particularly on adept weapons, masterworks, and enhanced traits, and better conveys the bounds a weapon stat can exist within. This is purely a display change. No weapon behaviours has changed, but you should expect all existing weapon stat bars to look slightly different. Now we move on to one-hit kills and special ammo. There are several damage buffs external to weapons that allow weapons to have a one-hit kill without much investment, such as aggressive snipers with high-impact reserves, Eriana's Vow or Le Monarch, specifically when combined with an external 20% damage buff. As an example, Empowering Rift can give many snipers a one-hit body shot capability in Crucible. So, most of these changes use the same buff under the hood, so they've adjusted them all at once. With these changes, it's going to be much rarer to get an easy one-hit kill with a weapon that wouldn't typically allow it. So, much rarer, but it's still possible that it could happen. They've reduced the damage bonus, again this is Season 17, for Empowering Rift, High Energy Fire, and Inertia Override from the Titans from 20% to 15% against players. No effect in PvE. In addition, we want special ammo to be less plentiful, making it more difficult to chain special weapon kills.
Right. That's what I was talking about earlier about how
I know, but
it's still there, but it's just you're not going to be
it's-
able to pick up as many with that brick.
you're not going to be able to
with
pick up
the
as many
scavenger.
bricks. No.
Yeah.
So they've disabled the ammo scavenger mods in PvP.
Oh,
So
they straight disabled it.
completely disabled it.
Oh, I
It'll
thought they
only matter in
tweaked
PvE. So no matter how much ammo a player is carrying on their death, if you pick up a special brick, you can only get 1 ammo for the shotgun, sniper, rifle, or 1 kill's worth of ammo for the weapon that requires more than 1 shot, i.e. Forerunner and Trace rifles. Because I think like Forerunner is like about 5 or 6 shots, and Trace rifles, I think it's like 25 ammo, something like that. And they've retuned several special weapon archetypes and exotic weapons, see below, with the general goal of reducing the effectiveness and uptime of special weapons. Now, with this, if you are still that shotgun god that is running around just shotgunning people in the face and they drop a special brick, you will still get a special brick to drop. And you'll still be able to run into the next person and shoot them. And there are perks like... I mean, you can still run with Rampage on a shotgun. You can still run with Swashbuckler on a shotgun. I can't even remember the 1-2 punch. There are still things that you will still be able to run around, punch somebody, shoot somebody, still proc that extra damage and pick up a special ammo brick and carry on your effectiveness of decimating the playing field. So it's still going to happen. They're just trying to reduce the effect of maybe the lesser skilled players being able to do that, or like 2 shots from like an Ikelos shotgun rather than if you do 1 shot and a punch kind of thing. If you see what I mean.
I got you. Yeah. And I'm with Hazel. I usually run double primary because I don't want to give them any special ammo if I'm getting wiped out by special. Yeah.
Yeah, in like trials and things. Yeah, you're like, no, you're not having nothing. Well, now they're not going to get nothing. Well, that's something that I don't think they actually address that. At the moment, if you run like you said, if you run a double primary setup, you don't drop an ammo brick. So is that still going to be the case going forward? So if they do kill you, they're going to be completely out, which is going to be interesting in trials and like competitive. I think it's something they kind of just need to reiterate to people just to make sure that they're aware of, but they don't cover it here. Archetypes. Special weapons, in particular shotguns and fusion rifles, are responsible for more one-hit kills than they'd like in PvP. So basically, they want to give more people time to get their sniper shots off and get one-hit kills. We still want them to be an option, but less ubiquitous, less effective at multiple ranges, and with lower uptime. Again, they've given you a lovely graph of
So many graphs.
So many graphs. Can you see this graph? Is this one friendly? No.
No.
Okay, so this is the one they break down from September through to April. And going from the top, we have fusion rifles, we have glaives spiking where glaives kind of picked up in the Witch Queen and everybody was doing their glaive stuff in Crucible, I guess. We have grenade launchers being quite consistent. We have linear fusion rifles going quite thick and then going thin again. I think that's where we had the change in our mods from our seasonal artifact. Shotguns are just completely across the board. Sniper rifles have kind of just been there, and trace rifles have barely existed. But yeah, if you want to see the graph, it is in the TWAB, and we will link it in our show notes. But yeah, I mean, so they've given you a graph to show their reasoning behind why they want to change these things, or why they want to change the fact that fusion rifles and shotguns are so prolific. But then there's still going to be the people that are good at these weapons are still going to be good at these weapons and still be able to kind of pick you off and do what they do. So I guess it just takes down, again, it widens that skill gap, like we said before, of people lesser skilled people not being able to kind of crutch on these things, I guess, is probably the best thing, I think.
Yeah, probably.
Special weapons. Special weapons have had their in-air accuracy significantly reduced, as Respawn has just told you. While we're okay with encouraging players to build into using their primary weapons more effectively in the air, we do not believe a prevalence of airborne one-hit kill options is good for PvP. Special
You
weapons have
think?
slightly... Yeah.
Well, after lots of studying, we found out that one-shotting probably ain't good for PvP. Yeah, wow, you guys are really on top of this. I'm impressed.
But give them their due, they are on top of this for... We've had, I think it was at least 2 years hiatus of anything happening in PvP, and now they're actually going, right, this is how we want the game to play out. So these are the changes we're going to have to make. So you're going to have to get used to it. But yeah. Where did I get to? Special weapons have a slightly larger airborne accuracy penalty than prime weapons at 0 airborne effectiveness stat, reduced to 0 at 100% stat. Special weapons have similarly airborne aim assist cone penalty to other weapons, around 50% at 0% stat. And this penalty can be reduced, but not entirely removed by investing in airborne effectiveness, that hidden stat that we don't know about, that we do know about, that you'll only be able to see in the API. Sniper rifles are fairly slow to ready, stow and aim down sights, which has made snapshot film mandatory for many players. Hang on a minute. Didn't they reduce the fact that they didn't want people to have snapshot and what was the other one?
Quick draw?
Something like that, yeah. Quick draw and snapshot be mandatory on the sniper.
Yeah.
So they're going to reverse it again now.
Yeah.
So
you're surprised by this? Oh, my friend. Let me introduce you to Bungie.
To Bungie. Oh dear.
Yeah.
So they've reduced the stow, ready, and aim down sights times by 10%, i.e., all snipers are now snappier. There's a matching change to snapshot below. Yep. Sniper rifles have less access to ammo than shotguns and fusion rifles, where kills drop ammo right in front of you. So we think ammo scarcity will prevent sniper rifles from spiking. Now, I was listening to a podcast about this, and they didn't pick up on it. But what perk have they now added into the game that wasn't in the game even 6 months ago?
Perk?
Anybody in chat think about this?
Are you talking armor or weapon?
A perk on a weapon that has now been added from Destiny 1 to Destiny 2 that would benefit snipers. Even if you're not using a sniper, so like if you had a hand cannon sniper, if you had a scout rifle.
Crouch, you have better accuracy?
No.
No?
Shoot to loot.
Oh. Yeah.
So that is still going to be a thing. That wasn't available when they made the changes to sniper rifles way back when. But now we have shoot to loot on primary weapons. I could see that still being a thing. So they dome somebody one shot. They can use their primary to pick up the ammo brick that's dropped miles away from them and carry on. Again, I suppose it's going to be a playstyle, so it's going to be interesting to see. But nobody else I've heard of has picked up on that as yet. And then they've broken out the usage of shotguns with another graph of going through aggressive, light-framed precision.
This is totally...
Is this... Yeah. This isn't colorblind happy.
It's not colorblind friendly, no.
No.
It's not.
Well, the topmost one is your aggressive frames. Then you've got your lightweight, pinpoint slug frames, precision. Then we've got rapid fire, so that's the Ikelos kind of ones, and then your shot package ones. Isn't shot package just Fellwinter's Lie?
Yeah, that is very specifically to that one shotgun. Yes.
They should just put Fellwinter's Lie anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Slug and pellet shotguns are still overwhelmingly popular in PvP despite some recent changes. As I said earlier, Fallout Plays did a video on it. So we've touched them again with the goal of encouraging some diverse in special weapon choices. We're keeping an eye on this change since we've touched shotguns multiple times recently, and we'll adjust if needed. So they're not afraid to touch them again.
Still are prevalent. Look at that.
With this change, we expect shotguns to have a shorter one-hit kill distance, but still effective enough in the short-range kill roll.
Clean up.
Yeah. This change reduces shotgun one-hit kill distance from around 0.5 meters because the importance of spread angles is just as high as damage fall-off, and this has not been touched. So they've reduced the damage fall-off start and end by 1 meter, and reduced the aim assist and magnetism fall-off start and end by 2 meters. So stay tuned for the Fallout video on that one.
Yay.
Even though I know he's not going to want to do it, he's going to have to do it. I'm asking him now. Please, Fallout, do it.
Oh.
I need to know. Fusion rifle usage is trending pretty high, particularly in trials, and bringing shotguns down a little more would make them too good an option. So we've made global changes. With these changes, 20 meters plus fusion rifle one-hit kills should be very uncommon through a combination of damage fall-off and recoil changes. So are these this is like the main ingredient, is it? And what's the other high impact one? I can't remember off the top of my head now.
Hold on, I got you.
You've got me.
Mm-hmm.
Likely suspect is the new
Glacier
one, which is a rapid
Chasm.
fire. Yeah, Glacier Chasm.
Yep. And then you also have the no, that's auto rifle. My bad. Yeah, just that and Glacier Chasm.
Okay, fair enough.
Oh, the No Composure. I forgot about that. No Composure.
Oh, there you go. So there is a couple of them out there.
And Force.
Apparently
there's a few.
I know. So if you are using those, they are going to be brought down with a combination of damage fall-off and recoil changes. So they've reduced the damage fall-off near distance, 2 meters at 0 range, and 2.7 meters when ADS with a 15 zoom stat. 1.3 meters at 100 range, and that's 2.275 meters when ADS with a 15 zoom stat. Reduce the damage fall-off far distance, 1 meter at 0 range, and 1.35 meters when ADS at 15 zoom stat. 1.3 meters at 100 range, and 1.75 when ADS with 15 zoom stat. So you're going to need to build into range a little bit with these to negate some of these damage fall-offs, which is, again, it's reversing the change that they made, I want to say about 6 to 8 months ago, where stability was a factor on fusion rifles, that if you had better stability, the pellet spread, or not the pellet spread, the bolts actually were constrained, and then it went to like a range stat, so you were looking at more higher range and less at stability. So now we're kind of going back a little bit of, you need some stability on these weapons to negate some of these reductions that you're getting. You're also getting recoil as well. That's being affected by stability. At 0 stability, it's unchanged at 0.75, but 100% stability is increased from 0.75 to 0.55. So it's increased the recoil penalty slightly. Yeah. I mean, reading through these, it sounds like they had them in the place that they needed them, but then the other weapons around them weren't in the right place. So then they adjusted these weapons, and now we're going to have to go back on some of the changes or tweak them slightly to fit in again with how the rest of the sandbox is feeling.
It's about what it seems like.
Yeah. When we rebuilt fusion rifles in Season 15, we wanted to differentiate the subclasses dramatically from each other, which worked. Now that we've seen them in action for a couple of seasons, we're pulling back from these extremities a little. With these changes, fusion rifle subfamilies are still very different from each other, but high impacts are stronger, and rapid fires and precisions should be a little less dominant. Higher impact reduce unmodded high impact charge time from 1000 to 0.60 seconds, so it's increased the damage per burst by 10. Precisions increase the unmodified change from 0.740 to 0.780 seconds, and the rapids, they've increased the unmodified charge time from 0.460 to 0.5, so they've decreased the damage per burst by 20. New charge times and damage per burst for all fusion rifle subfamilies. So the high impacts are going, where are we? High impacts are 0.60 seconds at 330 damage. Precisions are 0.780 seconds. at 280 damage. Adaptives are 0.660 seconds at 270 damage, and rapid fires are 0.0500 seconds at 245 damage. Besides Divinity, trace rifles aren't as popular in harder content.
So are you saying a rapid fire can one shot? Because that's 245 damage. That's more health than any Guardian has.
I think, yeah, but again, you're going. The problem is range. If you're on top of somebody, I think that's going to hit for the full 245. But it's a bit like a shotgun with the pellet spread and things like that. So, like they've said with the stability, you're going to need stability for all those bolts to hit, and you're going to need to be in the optimum range. Even though they've changed how fast they charge and how much damage they actually give out, it still depends on the range and where that other Guardian is, basically. And
yeah, Az says that they've always been able to one shot, so I just didn't know. Okay.
So they want to increase the trace rifle damage against non-red bar combatants by 20% and increase the ammo pickup per special brick from 18 to 30.
Nice.
That's a good PvE change, yeah.
And the damage too. Non-red bar combatants. That means bosses, champions, all that stuff. Plus 20% buff.
Yeah. Primary weapons. Auto rifles and pulse rifles aren't as competitive as they'd like in mid-range. The lightweight pulse rifles are too hard to use to hit their optimal time to kill. With these changes, we expect auto rifles and pulse rifles to better compete with hand cannons in mid to long range and outrange standard submachine guns.
So tired of the hand cannon meta. Let's go.
So the auto rifles, they've increased the damage fall off near distance by 0.75 meters. Pulse rifles, they've increased the damage fall off near distance based on the range stat. So 0 range increased from 15 to 16 meters, and 100 range increased from 22.5 to 24. Note that this is the hip fire fall off distance and is multiplied by zoom value to get the aim down sight's fall off distance.
Nice.
Damage fall off far distance remains at 40 meters regardless of the range stat. And they've increased the lightweight, that's 450 RPM, pulse rifle damage per bullet from 15 to 16 with a 1.65 times precision scaler. This will increase precision damage from 24.75 to 26.4. This won't change the optimal time to kill in PvP, but will reduce the number of crits required. Okay, so how does that not change the optimal time to kill, but reduce the number of crits required?
Okay, so
surely that
it's just the damage overall, right? So with the precision numbers, even with the precision increase, it's still going to take 2 or 3 bursts of precision to kill somebody. But now these bursts, also because of the increased body damage, right? Now you can land more body shots and still get the same overall TTK as though you were going to get crits too, right? So you can add more body shots into that number and still get the same TTK, but your crit values aren't high enough to actually kill them any faster, right?
Yeah. I'm not sure about that one.
I know what it means. I'm just having a hard time.
No. I'm not 100% sure on that actually happening. Anyway, zoom is too important a factor on submachine guns, and submachine guns with low zoom don't feel competitive in PvP.
They're not.
So they've reduced the variance in zoom and brought the base zoom up from 13 to 14 and extended damage fall off distance. With this change, several standard zoom submachine guns will be more competitive, but this does not make the inaccessible submachine guns with the high perk trait RNG multi-mac compete with less auto rifles, and it will no longer straight up outclass every other submachine gun in PvP. They've increased the damage fall off by 1.5. They've adjusted the zoom value on most viable legendary submachine guns and one exotic, Sorro's Wrath, from 17 to 16.
Yep.
Multi-mac with max zoom scope, 17 to 15. So it's the second highest zoom. We'll bring this to 14 instead. The Stockass variable, it's 13 to 14.
Stockass.
Whatever. Icolos, just nothing changed from the Witch Queen here, 13 to 14. Seventh Seraph is 13 to 14. Every Waking Moment is 13 to 14, and the Huckleberry is 13 to 15.
Nice.
We like
Wait, why 13 to 15 though? Because Huckleberry is a static roll.
because it's exotic.
But it's a static roll. Like these other ones where it's like 13 to 14 is because you can change like your zoom factors and this and that. But the Huckleberry, it's a static roll. You can't change anything. So how is it 13 to 15?
Well, is it not the same for the
Well, Shira's Wrath, you can get, I think you can get different scopes. Oh, no, Shira's Wrath is the same. Oh, I'm a dumbass. That's not a range. They're changing it from 13 to 15. Oh my god. Okay, sorry. Just.
Four to 6 days later.
I haven't had coffee today, guys. My wife has given me tea, and that's it. So I don't have the caffeine I need to function properly. I apologize.
There is caffeine in tea. There
Not
is
enough.
caffeine in tea.
Not this tea. This is no. My coffee, I have either Black Rifle,
Squirrel,
or Black Death. Yeah.
Mhm.
So anyway, so the Huckleberry is gonna, man. The Huckleberry is gonna be a monster too, man. It's still not gonna outrange Shira's Wrath, but it's gonna be up there with Multimach, and I think that is gonna be phenomenal. Well, no, because it does jump a lot too, though. So that's what sucks about it. You gotta ride the bull. Okay, maybe not.
Did you know, Respawn, they like adaptive submachine guns?
I do. And they're starting to make them again. Yeah.
They are.
But in their current form, they're a little too fast with body shots. Did you know that?
I've just read it, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So did you also hear that they've reduced body damage to increase their body shot time to kill?
Yeah, by one bullet without impacting their optimal time to kill.
Which would bring it from a damage of 12 to 11.25. Yeah.
And increase the precision multiplier from 1.35 to 1.44.
That's crazy, dude. Did you also know that precision frame hand cannons have always been good while airborne?
I did.
Yeah. That effectively having built-in Icarus script, and with the changes to airborne functionality, we wanted to preserve that feel while translating their advantage into the new system.
Ooh. Does that mean they're intrinsically switching it from 75% airborne accuracy penalty reduction to 20 plus 25 airborne effectiveness stat?
That is an oddly specific guess, but yes, you are correct. That also means that if you had a Frontier's Cry with an Icarus script mod on it, you would be at 19 plus 25 plus 15, which would equal 59 before factoring in armor subclasses.
Ooh.
Yeah. Crazy, right?
Is that the end of that?
That's the end of that, yeah. Now we're on heavy weapons.
Heavy weapons. Machine guns still aren't where they want them to be in PvE, so they're giving them an additional buff, but less so against bosses, where their extremely long range and deep ammo reserves would make them less strong in too many roles. With this change, they'll shred most enemies without stepping onto top tier boss damage options. So they're increasing the damage by 40% against PvE enemies and 20% versus bosses.
Oh.
Xenophage and Grand Overture receive this buff, except for bonuses versus bosses. Sword stats have been inconsistent for a while now.
No.
So while we've tidied all of these up, mostly cosmetic, fixing several inconsistencies in stat displays between different swords, this has no gameplay impact. Although they've increased the charge rate stat from the Solar Scar from 20 to 50 to match Temptation's Hook. So that's the arc projectile one. So Solar Scar is the solar one.
Yep.
Swing solar stuff. Yeah. Rocket launchers. Rocket launchers subfamilies weren't differentiated enough by the previous change, so they've made the difference more extreme. With this change, we expect there to be more marked trade-off for the intrinsic tracking on precisions and greater benefits for other subfamilies.
Precision rocket launchers receive a minus 10% damage, both impact and detonation, which is dumb. High impact, there is no change. And for adaptive and aggressive, there is a plus 10% to damage for rocket launchers. Now, we kind of zipped on past this, right? But the machine gun, right?
Mm-hmm.
They gave them plus 40% against PvP, except bosses. They've only given them plus 20, right? Yeah. I'm thinking no, but do you think that that's going to change anything in high-end activity? Especially since they specified that Xenophage and Overture did not get the boss buff.
I think if you're thinking maybe
like for use in raids and things like that. No, not champions. Yeah, it'll be good against champions, obviously, but I'm talking bosses, a raid boss, of the boss at the end of a Grandmaster Nightfall, things like that, right? This, I don't think, is going to change any of the strats for high DPS options, right? This is still probably going to be Gjallarhorn, or in some cases the Outbreak Perfected, right? So I don't.
But I think the thing is, these days when you're fighting a boss like in a strike or something, they throw in the champions as extra kind of heavies to deal with, don't they? I mean, I was listening to somebody say that the master version of Val the Disciple, they've thrown in more champions when dealing with the boss or dealing with whatever. It's like, so if you've got somebody that's running, say, Thunderlord, that can just melt those champions, that can help support the team whilst maybe the other 5 members are running like the high DPS stuff, then it may be an option, if you see what I mean. It's one of these things that like you've got to build into. I think somewhere down the line we're going to get into building into PvE as well, and having to craft a whole team to go in to deal with a raid. So you're going to need your Titan with its bubble and a machine gun. You're going to need a linear fusion rifle to take out snipers. You're going to need high DPS rocket launchers to take out bosses. There's going to be more specifics, I think, coming later on.
Yeah, but I mean, even when it comes to that, 2 Gjallarhorn shots will take out a champion, right? So you can pop off 2 Gjallarhorn shots, which is, you don't even have to reload because it holds 2 in the mag. Or you can take significantly more time to shoot one of these guys with a machine gun, which is going to take more time away from you outside of the boss phase, right? So it's just like...
So what you're saying is Gjallarhorn's the issue?
Well, not even just Gjallarhorn, but, Gjallarhorn is an issue. A lot of people don't use it, but you also have the Void one with 3 rockets in the chamber that tracks.
Eyes?
No, not Eyes. Although Eyes is getting a bonus, which is cool. No, the Void one, it's got 3 in the chamber, and it used to be hell in any PvP activity. Truth, thank you. The Truth. People sleep on that too. It might not have as much damage as the Gjallarhorn.
I haven't used Truth for ages.
But if you have a Gjallarhorn in the party, then ouch. No, because it's only legendaries. That's right.
Yeah.
Never mind. But yeah, so that being the case, I don't think this is going to make much of a difference because rocket launchers are still the best DPS, flat out. Whether it be the Gjallarhorn or Eyes of Tomorrow, which, God, I hope it's going to be as good as I think it is. Or, any other ones, like even the one that I use on most of my builds for boss DPS when I have to use it inside it for something else. You have the freaking Code Duello with Lasting Impression. That does massive, massive damage. You know what I mean? So it's crazy. So I don't think this is going to be enough to change that meta. I want it to be, because personally, I love machine guns more than rocket launchers. I hate constantly reloading a rocket launcher. So I want submachine guns to be the meta again. I loved it when they were the meta before. And every time we get a new machine gun, I'm like, could this be the one that brings back the machine gun meta? But no. Xenophage was the last one that we had that people actually used. It got nerfed into the ground. Grand Overture is kind of ass. I haven't seen anybody using Grand Overture ever. Even though it looks good on paper, the damage does not match, what's on paper.
Yeah.
But I mean, I want some I want machine guns to be a thing again, and it's just, rockets are just too damn good. And I hope this 20% is enough. I haven't really done any math. I hope the 20% is enough, but I don't think it's enough to really change any high-end activity loadouts, man. And that kind of sucks.
I think it's one of those things that we're going to have to wait and see. Like every kind of weapon pass, every tuning that we have, that somebody will find that this is amazing and this is going to be doing fantastic. So it's one of those things that we'd have to wait and see.
Yeah.
But you did mention exotics
I
just now.
did
You
mention
said
exotics.
Eyes of Tomorrow. And
Yeah.
talking of exotics, all exotics that shipped before the Forsaken release now have their kill trackers visible by default. Fighting Lion needed a bit more of a buff, so they've improved its reload speed when Thin the Herd is active. And now they're increasing the blast radius and damage. So with this change, it should be easier to get the damage you need to trigger its perk. Ooh. I've seen this one kind of come up in Crucible recently. I think your buddy Aztecross made a video of 6 fighting lions in Iron Banner. Did you see that video?
I didn't, but it sounds like something he would do.
Yeah, I think it was him. Did 6 fighting lions in. So this is improving the buff on that is just going to make it. Maybe it's going to come back into Destiny Fun Place's repertoire, because he was all about the fighting lion.
Think about this too, though. Think about this too, right? The thing that makes Fighting Lion good is the fact that it uses primary ammo.
Yes.
And when you get a kill, it drops more primary ammo, right? Although now primary ammo is infinite, I think it still has. It doesn't have infinite, right?
No.
Right. Okay. So it drops primary ammo for itself, right? So
and I think on a kill, doesn't it automatically reload as well?
No, I don't think it automatically reloads on a kill. I think you still have to reload it, but it does drop primary ammo, right?
Yeah.
And if it's gonna get a buff, both to blast radius and damage, we could see this in more PvE activities too, because you never have to worry about running out of special ammo, but you get special ammo damage from this guy. You know what I mean? So that might be cool. I never really liked it as a grenade launcher, but I did love its perk. I hate having a release to detonate it. But but yeah, no, I mean, if it's gonna give it a blast radius and a damage increase, I could absolutely use this in PvE and never have to worry about special ammo again. Just put on the glaive, Fighting Lion, I'm rocking double special without having to worry about double special economy.
I don't think you can put it on.
What?
With the glaive.
Why not?
It's a void weapon. It's a void.
Oh, I thought it was a primary. You're right.
It's primary ammo, but
we need a kinetic glaive.
Just so that you can have that dream.
Yeah, so.
Again, they're reverting the Season 15 Breach Grenade Launcher blast radius reduction, but just for Fighting Lion. So they increased the blast radius from 0.4. Increased blast radius by 0.4 meters. So it's increased damage by 5%. Your Eyes of Tomorrow as a raid exotic ought to be better against tough PvE enemies. So with this change, it's a solid option in this role, particularly with the Adaptive Ordnance perk active.
Yeah, it is.
So they're increasing the damage versus bosses and champions by 30%.
Yes! I can't wait for that. That is a fun rocket launcher to use, guys, and it is absolutely dangerous. I love it.
Leviathan's Breath, which is your exotic heavy bow, always felt like it should be absolutely wrecking champions. And using its first shot to stun an unstoppable champion without doing much damage felt bad. Archer's Tempo, which is from its catalyst, is significant on paper, but in practice that draw speed buff isn't noticeable as they'd like. And I think, as a lot of other people have liked, did you actually go out of your way and complete this?
I absolutely did, yeah, because I love bows, and I loved having a heavy bow, but like he said, it was great for stunning. Like if I needed to have a champion stun and all my other weapons were doing something else, this was a great alternative. But it didn't do a lot of damage compared to what it's supposed to. I mean, it's a rocket that you put on a bow. It should be doing rocket launcher damage, and it didn't. So
yeah, I think you're right about that. I think because of the low ammo that you can get with it, and the time that it takes.
The exotic gives you a lot more ammo. Let's be clear on that. I think the exotic gives you 15 arrows, 15 or 17. It's a lot.
But if you treat it like a linear fusion rifle, with the amount of damage that it can put out, you can fire a linear fusion rifle quicker
Oh yeah.
than the way that the Archer's tempo was working from the catalyst on this.
Mhm.
And that's on like a legendary linear fusion rifle. So it made no sense to actually put this in your arsenal at all.
Just as flavor. Like you want to rock a 3-bow build, that's how you do it. And it was
Oh,
fun.
yeah.
Because I would rock that with the Oath Keepers, and I would have 2 bows and then that heavy and then Oath Keepers, and it was fun, and it was a way to make content enjoyable during a drought. But it just, like you said, didn't do the damage it should be doing.
Yeah. So overall, they hope that these changes make it feel a bit better against all types of champions and other tough enemies in hard
Changes
content.
is that?
The Archer's tempo perk from the catalyst now has increased effects just on this weapon. The standard draw time scaler from Archer's tempo is 0.75 times. It is now 0.5625 on Leviathan's breath. I still don't think that's going to be enough.
Mm-mm.
I think it needs to be instant. If you've procced Archer's tempo on this slow firing heavy bow, then it needs to be instantaneous. I think it needs to be one of those ones that you could possibly take it into harder content for DPS. I don't think this is going to be another thing. They've added a small delay before destination on champions, mini bosses, and bosses. This allows the impact to stun an unstoppable champion and the destination to deal bonus damage against the stunned champion. Damage changed to be more of an even split between impact and destination and increased damage across the board by 50%. And overall damage versus champions is roughly doubled, even more compared to shooting an unstoppable champion.
Hold on. Damage changed to be more of an even split between impact and detonation and increased damage across the board by 50%.
I still don't think it's going to be something that people are going to be rocking, like, as you said, over Galahorn or over something else.
Absolutely not.
That can get the quick kill, or it can get like that damage out there.
No, you're absolutely right, but that is hella impressive.
Maybe I'm wrong.
We'll see. I wish it was out now. I want to go grab the bow right now.
No, you don't. You've got to suffer through Guardian Games first, my friend.
That's true.
And we've got to find out who wins the bet.
Okay. They also, that's the Huckleberry. Okay, so
Yeah.
the Huckleberry had an underwhelming engagement range. Updated zoom based on the change to baseline submachine gun zoom. We increased the zoom stat from 13 to 15, but it still shakes like a mofo, so you have to compensate for that.
They didn't say that. They didn't say that.
The perk is right in the bull. The longer you hold the trigger, the worse it gets, dude. That's the whole point of the gun. Our experiment with pushing Xenophage into harder hitting but slower firing didn't pan out. You think?
Yeah.
So increasing the rate of fire and adjusting damage back to what it was. Nice. Very cool. Reduce damage per bullet to match the previous. It doesn't benefit from the Season 17 machine gun damage buff versus bosses. That is unfortunate. But if they brought down its RPM back to what it was and gave it its previous damage, I think that might even out. You know? Because back then, it was still doing fairly well. So, yeah, I mean, that's good. That's really good. And it's actually going to be better in PvP with that new RPM too. So you're probably going to be seeing those in PvP again. So...
yeah, that one hit kill. But that's heavy though, so.
La Monarch is too oppressive when combined with external damage buffs. Literally any damage buff. External damage buff. You got a rift. You got I can't talk.
I don't get rifts as a hunter.
Yeah, that's true. But you get other damage buffs.
No, I don't.
But we felt that it could be stronger in PvE. With this change combined with the damage buff change above, we've introduced a 60 resilience gate on killing a Guardian in PvP with a crit while empowering Rift or similar. Yeah. So you're right. Hunters don't get a buff. When you said my brain defaulted to you being a Titan with your barricade and your overshield, which gives you a weapon buff.
No, I like to use Le Monarch on my hunter with my Oath Keepers.
That makes sense. We also reduced the poison tick damage versus players by 25% and increased the poison tick damage versus AI by 50%. Wow! So it's going to be way better in PvE.
You've skipped over that bit. They've changed the poison damage type from burn to poison.
Oh.
It's largely housekeeping, but not gameplay significant.
I didn't even know it was a burn, honestly. I thought it was a poison from the get-go.
It is now.
Continue on.
Lorenz Driver can be difficult to fight against in PvP. Yes, it can. In part because it does very high body shot damage. With this change, getting left super weak by a body shot should be less common. Though we're keeping an eye on how this change lands and it may revisit it later. So they reduce the body shot damage against players by 20%. This will also prevent it from being a one-hit kill with a body shot whilst in Empowering Rift combined with all the change. Body shot damage reverted to old behaviour when in the weapons damage mode, and the precision damage in any mode is unchanged. Skyburner's Oath, the scout rifle that nobody uses, felt like it didn't have a niche, and except for airborne memes. So we've made a bunch of changes aiming to improve its ease of use, giving it some more utility and really pushing into the airborne role. So this again is PvP, not PvE, which is where I thought it was mainly for. It was meant to be fighting the Cabal. It was meant to deal more damage to Cabal combatants, but then I think people found out that other weapons melted Cabals just as easy. So
The only thing that was cool about the Skyburner's Oath is the hip fire tracking.
Yeah.
That made it cool. Okay, hold on. It lobs a large explosive seeking slugs when you're firing from the hip. You're aiming down sights, the slugs travel fast and straight. So hip fire is slowed down. So this would actually increase the hip fire grip. Yeah, with a higher damage.
Both the same RPM, but they're taking off the tracking.
Yeah. Oh. And turn it into slug grenades? What the?
The hipfire destination also applies a burn to targets. The bonus range from the Masterwork has also rolled into the base stats of the weapon. The Masterwork now grants bonus reload speed instead. Has the highest airborne effectiveness stat of any weapon in the game. 35, if you were wondering. And that's that for that. Then we move on to the last word. The last word hand cannon plays very different on mouse and keyboard than it does on controller, but the disparity doesn't need to be that large. We're keeping an eye on this one too, and they've reduced the mouse and keyboard recoil penalty from 33 to 22. Is that good?
Yes, it means it's going to kick less.
There you go. Arbalest is more dominant than intended in harder PvE content, able to fill the anti-barrier role as well as shield breaking and boss damage. We've made a fairly small adjustment here, but may need to look at it again in the future. So they've reduced the damage versus champions by 25%, but it will still break barriers in one hit. There you go. I guess they haven't taken off its anti-barrier intrinsic perk, so that's still quite good, I guess. Graviton Lance, Detric's favourite weapon. The catalyst didn't help the weapon enough, so they want to give it a bit more of a boost. This change gives it some interesting utility in PvE and PvP, particularly with the buff to exotic primary weapons in the Witch Queen. So the catalyst change from granting Hidden Hand to granting Vorpal Weapon and Turnabout. And I can't remember what Turnabout is. Turnabout's the new perk, isn't it?
Yes, it's one of the new ones.
So Turnabout is a new perk to this season. It's using this weapon to break the shield of a combatant or guardian using their super will grant you an overshield for an improved duration.
Mm-hmm.
So you get that and you get Vorpal on there. So that's going to be interesting. Grand Overture. Most recent adjustment switched the missiles to fire in bursts of 5, which allows for more granular in unloading the damage. But sometimes you want them to all fly out all at once.
Hold on, wait. Grand Overture's most recent adjustment switched the missiles to fire bursts of 5. Okay. Mm-hmm. Which allows for more granularity and unloading the damage. Okay. Sometimes you just want them all to fly at once. Reduce time between bursts when in missile mode. Holding the trigger will now fire all missiles and they continue. Oh, okay. Okay, that's only in missile mode. Okay. It threw me off because I thought it was like a 5-round burst in like machine gun mode, but only in missile mode. You can hold it down to fire them all or tap it for a 5-round burst. I got you.
So Cold Heart, apparently the arc damage type update, and Cold Heart's exotic trait more or less being is a trace rifle no longer fits in a world with legendary trace rifles. So this is the one that freezes you, isn't it? It's got
No, that's the newest one. The Cold Heart was the original trace rifle we came out with, and it does arc. No, arc. It's cold in name only. This came out
Yeah,
way
yeah.
before stasis was even a thing.
Yeah.
The Cold Heart, what it does is the longer you have it on target, the more the damage ramps up.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, the ease of use of sustained damage was also pretty low.
Mm-hmm.
So the sustained damage creates an ionic trace, and collecting an ionic trace grants energy to all your abilities.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow.
So ionic traces at the moment, that's on the warlocks, isn't it? Where it sends all flex along the ground and recharges you if you've got, I think it's Middle Tree Arc subclass on the warlocks, isn't it?
Yeah. Or
So it's
the
going to be,
little tetrahedrons come at you.
yeah, I think it's going to be similar to that, I guess. They're increasing the grace time before the damage ramps up, clears from 0.113 seconds to 1 second. Prometheus lens, the solar damage
thank
type.
God, because that was okay. That's important because I was just going to bring that up. When it said ease of use for ramping up the damage, and that's because, like, if you have it on the boss, and let's say you get flinched and it comes off the boss, or an ad pushes you away, well, now you got to start all over again. But you have a full second to get it back on track to keep the damage where it was and keep going. That's like actually a big change. Yeah. That's actually a big change. That could. Yeah, okay. I like it.
Okay. You like it, Picasso?
Yeah, Prometheus lens.
Solar damage type update. And generally, this needs some tweaks to be viable. So the sustained damage applies more useful burns to targets. Okay. Wave splitter. The void damage type update. And the power cycling mechanism was interesting, but ultimately hard to capitalize on. So the power level no longer cycles randomly. So this is the one that you don't know whether if you put it on somebody, it gives you like 99 damage, or you put it on somebody, it gives you like 2 damage. It just cycles through the damage. I mean, that's an extreme, but it's just giving you a kind of just overview.
But you say that, but yet in PvP, if you take it into PvP, it had like a really low TTK. Like it was killing Guardians fast, you know? And
it just depends on where you got it from and its power cycling.
Yeah, I mean, they say that, but like it seems to go through the power cycle pretty quick, and you hit those high damage ones. Maybe I was just lucky. Could be. I don't know. All I'm saying is, whenever I would take it into PvP, I would do really well with the damn thing till I ran out of ammo, and then I would die. Right?
I'm not really happy about these changes, though.
Why?
So the power leveling no longer cycles randomly. Okay. The default damage output is the same as the old middle tier.
Oh, no.
You have to pick up an orb of power, which grants 10 seconds of maximum power and caps at 20 seconds, up from 5 to 10. Now suppresses targets while granting this mode by picking up an orb.
Okay, that's not bad.
I'm not happy about that. No, because
it sounds like they're trying to make it a boss damage weapon, right? Because you pop your super, you got all kinds of orbs on the ground, and you're strafing while keeping it on the boss. So you're picking up those orbs to keep your.
I can see that.
You know, and then it's also suppressing him. I could see maybe that's where they're going with this, making this like a boss DPS type of weapon. It's not going to be.
It could be.
I mean, I guess. I mean, I guess it would work against champions too. You know, you pop a super. Oh, actually, no. Hold on. No. I'm being too cynical about this. So all you got to do is put on a mod. Then when you get multi kills, you drop orbs. You pick up one of those, and this gun ramps up, allowing you to kill even more enemies even faster, dropping even more orbs. So okay, this could absolutely be a good ad killer weapon. I'm lying. Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying that. But I'm saying that I like the fact that it had that power cycling mechanism, and you didn't know whether when you were in PvP, you didn't know whether that one shot was going to take out that Guardian or going to leave like a slither of health for them to kill you. it was the game that you played with that weapon by taking that weapon in. It could be.
And also the name doesn't make any sense anymore because the wave is no longer split.
No.
Yeah.
If they wanted to do that with another weapon, they should have brought in another exotic weapon that did that, capitalized on picking up an orb of power. Leave that wave splitter alone. It was neither overpowered nor underpowered. It was just a weapon that was, I think they're trying to do everything and all the things now to like make everything viable or everything have a use, but that weapon I don't think needed to be touched. but they're touching it, so I've got no say.
I mean, the fact that it can now suppress, or not suppress, weaken? Hold on, where's that?
It was.
It does suppress. Okay.
Now it suppresses targets while granted.
Pick up an orb. That's 10 seconds of suppression right there. That's 10 seconds where this guy can suppress it. Anybody and everybody it hits, right?
But
so that's pretty
what was
powerful.
The issue with bringing in another exotic?
Well, because then you would never use Wave Splitter again. They're trying to make Wave Splitter
you use Wave Splitter,
not obsolete.
No, but you could still use Wave Splitter for the fact that it gave you something different.
I mean, they could have just added, they could have left it as it was with the cycling, and then gave it the other two things. Where picking up an orb of power makes it default high, and
yes, they should have done that. It should have automatically, if you picked up an orb, it gave you the automatic buff of the higher tier, so that it's viable in PvE and still viable in PvP if you want to just use it in its normal kind of wave splitting mode. And you're right. We should have left it as it is.
I want to see the numbers though, right? So if it's at its mid-tier damage, does that make it at the same level as its other exotic fusion rifle damage types? Or is it going to make it less damaging? Is it going to make it more damaging? Right? So at its baseline, where does it sit as far as damage while compared to
it's probably going to be the same as the other two, the Cold Heart and the Prometheus, isn't it?
Well, the Cold Heart hits harder, the Prometheus does. And then it hits harder over time, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just curious, because you got the Prometheus, you have the Cold Heart, and then you have Divinity, right? Divinity's got a baseline power. So where's it going to come in compared to the Divinity? Could that be the new boss DPS weapon in lieu of Divinity?
No,
or maybe use it in conjunction with Divinity?
They should have gone with what you said. Yeah. Bungie you should have listened to Respawn after the fact and changed it.
You got time. You got a whole season before it comes out.
You can revert it back. The Ostrostrager. Were you worried about this? You were worried about this. I heard you say that you were worried that it shipped with rotated projectiles by 90 degrees, and you said it looked weird.
Yeah, I'm not.
Don't worry about it. They've corrected the rotation on the projectile model.
Okay, but the Ostrostrager, have you used it yet?
Yeah.
Have you got the catalyst for it?
No.
Okay, so I thought it was.
You thought it was a bad tier weapon, did you?
Bad tier weapon. And then I got the catalyst for it. And then I still thought it was a bad tier weapon until I figured out how the catalyst works. Because I was having such a hard time proccing it. But once you learn the trick, there's a learning curve, or at least for me there was. Shut up. Once you get it, having a submachine gun with a 100-round magazine is kind of awesome. So, if you have it, get the catalyst. It will change how you use this weapon. Because if you kill somebody with the poison damage, your magazine goes from 27 to 45, and then from 45 to like 90 or some insane number, right? It is incredibly powerful. And then once you get that higher tier magazine, you keep it at the high tier magazine, and it just keeps refilling that magazine as you kill enemies with poison. It is top tier once you get the catalyst and once you learn how to use it. So I just wanted to bring that out. I may have badmouthed it in the past, but that's before I learned how to use it. For PvE, it's great. For PvP, if you pulse fire it, it's also great because it tracks and it poisons and it's evil. But yeah, it's definitely I retract the badmouth things I've said about it.
2 thumbs up from Respawn there.
1.5.
Okay. Lord of Falls apparently is kind of a shotgun, but it had its own custom tuning, and it wasn't impacted by the previous shotgun change. No, it wasn't, and was much too strong with shotguns and fusion rifles getting the reduction range. So they're going to bring it in line a bit more, and they're going to reduce the damage fall off start and end by 25%.
That doesn't really matter when you're getting hit with 10 shotgun rounds at once, but
no.
Okay.
But yeah, I think I've seen a few videos over the last couple of weeks where people have discovered it again and went, this hasn't had a change. This is still good. Yeah, I came up against it in Iron Banner a couple of times.
I came up against it in Trials once, and I was just like, that's disgusting. I didn't know that was a thing anymore. But yeah. So perks. We're gonna get some perks done. Note, where an enhanced perk exists, and an adjustment is needed, it's been adjusted in the same way. So whatever adjustment is made to its baseline was also made to its enhanced version, is what they're saying.
Good. I'm glad we cleared that up.
Snapshot sights has felt mandatory in sniper rifles. Hey, it's almost like somebody said that. With this change, a sniper rifle with snapshot will feel about the same, but one without snapshot will feel a lot snappier. With what change? What did you do to snapshot sights? You didn't tell us. Oh, no, you didn't.
Telling you.
Okay.
They're telling you. Keep
Well,
reading.
you don't tell how it changes and then say what it.
They do.
completely
This is
backwards,
Bungie.
Destiny.
This is backwards Bungie day.
Hey, it increased ADS animation speed scaler from 0.5 to 0.75 for special ammo weapons, and primary ammo weapons are unchanged. And then say, with these changes, the sniper rifle.
No.
Okay. Opening shot has felt mandatory on shotguns forever, in large part because it gives part of its buff as a damage fall-off scaler. This isn't something we like on short-range weapons. You can still feel the range bump with this change unless its range is already capped. But it won't let weapons push completely outside their intended engagement ranges. So, they have removed the damage fall-off scaler, and they have increased the range stat bonus from 20 to 25. Other stats from this perk are unchanged. You still get the plus 20 to aim assist, the 5% reduced accuracy cone angle, and 10% reduced accuracy cone growth. Those are all things that I'm not going to explain to you. Full choke has been the go-to magazine perk forever, justified or not. With this change, other magazine options should be competitive. The change is increased spread angle scale from 0.95 to 0.9625, i.e. narrows the spread just a little less. Smoothbore has always felt like an awkward magazine perk, so we're buffing it a little. Reduce the spread angle scale from 1.1 to 1.075, aka widens the spread a little less. So Smoothbore, for you guys that are new, Smoothbore used to be the thing to get on shotgun because it massively increased the range on it, and it was on every shotgun, and it was completely devastating PvP. And then they made a change that, yes, you still get all this range, but it dramatically increased the weapon spread. So, yeah, you might hit somebody 10 meters away, but they're getting hit by one pellet. So, yeah, now bringing it from 1.1 to 1.075, I still don't think it's going to be viable, but we'll see. Desperado is a strong perk in its current form, but we'd like it to be able to put on more weapon. We'd like to be able to put it on more weapons without breaking PvP. With this adjustment, it's still strong and has more PvE utility and can be applied to pulse rifles subfamilies aside from the high impact if desired. So, what they've done is increased fire recovery scaler from 0.415 to 0.7, aka it doesn't fire as fast as it did with the perk active. They also reduced the duration from 7 seconds to 6 seconds and added a timer to the buff text. The timer is important. Should have done that already. They've also removed the PvE damage penalty.
I'm not happy with that.
Neither am I.
Because people that have grinded out for their messengers, going into trials to get that.
All the messengers that I've been trying to get,
The Redrixes, just because they want to then put it on other weapons, they shouldn't change it for that reason. It should be a unique to those weapons that, like we had. That's a reason why you go and get that weapon. There's a reason why. There's a reason why people went into Crucible and did the Redrix Broadsword, Redrix Claymore. They got those weapons because it benefited from that Desperado perk. And the reason why people banged their heads for so many weeks to possibly get a Desperado version of the Messenger in trials. And now for them to just go, because we want to put it on more weapons, change it. That doesn't seem right. Give us a different perk on different weapons that is slightly less of a Desperado perk, because then it still makes that Desperado perk desirable to get in those weapons.
So I've spent every single engram I get from trials on getting rolls for the messenger, because I've been trying to get the rapid hit Desperado combination. I've never gotten it. I've only ever gotten the Outlaw Desperado and rapid hit compared with Headseeker, right? I've wasted, God, I don't know,
you haven't wasted. You've put
30,
time and effort
40,
into it.
30 or 40 engrams, and I still haven't gotten that damage combination, because that's what makes this gun powerful. And now Bungie's gonna be like, you know what? Man, we're just so all those engrams I could be using on Shira's Wrath or the linear fusion rifle or the auto rifle or any of the other ones that are also good. Because now the whole reason I'm getting this thing
You've
is
upset
gonna go
him there,
away.
Bungie. That's it. I feel a rant coming on. He's realised, and there's a
That
rant.
is the rant. That's it. I'm done. Whatever. Air Assault. Air Assault was shelved for a long time. I don't even know how that is.
It was a perk that you could get on weapons that if you jumped in the air, it gave you the in-air accuracy, better in-air accuracy without having Icarus grip on.
I understand the meta has to change, but they don't have to change. This gun is not present in the current meta as much as like a hand cannon is. So this change doesn't really change the meta at all, dude. Because it's not like pulse rifles are all over the place in the meta, you know? But whatever. Anyway, Air Assault was shelved for a long time, but adding airborne effectiveness stat gave the opportunity to turn it into a perk that actually does what it says in the description. With this change, airborne gunplay while wounded will be much more effective. Rebuilt now grants up to plus 60 airborne effectiveness stat when wounded. Same trigger conditions as the Eye of the Storm. Okay, so it gets, the more damaged you are, the more airborne effectiveness you get. I got you. Mm-hmm. Okay. So Mulligan was never quite as strong enough to warrant a pick previously, but buffing it would have been risky on special weapons. With this change, it's useful on rapid-fire primary weapons where you don't expect every shot to hit, like an auto rifle, occupying a similar role to a triple tap, but inverted. Increased chance to return ammo on a miss from 20% to 35% on primary ammo weapons. Unchanged on special and heavy weapons. Damn it. That's unfortunate. Because from the raid, I have one that's got the, over time, it fills your magazine while reserves up to double the capacity. And I got one of those with Mulligan. And I was like, ooh, is this gonna be meta? No. Compulsive Reloader shipped a little weak. With this change, you can really feel the reload speed bump. It's increased the reload stat buff from 40 to 50. Nice. And added a 0.95 reload animation scaler. Also very nice. And for those of you that think Compulsive Reloader is a bad perk, you can get a fusion rifle that comes with Reservoir Burst, right? So Reservoir Burst only works on the first bullet of a full magazine in a fusion rifle. So being able to reload that bad boy fast as hell using a compulsive reloader, because that also happens to be on a Suros fusion rifle, which is where this compulsive reloader comes from. It comes on Suros weapons. So having a Suros fusion rifle with compulsive reloader and Reservoir Burst, which is what I have, is really, 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 really good. It's not as good as the one with well, actually, I guess you can compare, right? So Nitedemon, yes. Personally, right? You have an option between Subsistence and Reservoir Burst, or Compulsive Reload and Reservoir Burst. What would you pick? Subsistence only procs on a kill, mind.
I do reload quite a lot, so yeah, Compulsive Reloader.
Yeah, I figured, because I have one of each, and they're both good, and I always have a hard time deciding which one to use. So I would say probably PvP, Compulsive might be better, but PvE, maybe Subsistence? I don't know. Either way, it's really, really good on fusion rifles. Don't overlook this perk on Suros fusion rifle. Adagio was allowing for a one-hit body shot kill with a slug shotgun. Oh no, you're taking it away! You're taking it away! Anyway, Adagio was allowing for a one-hit body shot kill with slug shotgun. While this is possible with other perks such as Swashbuckler, the investment required to trigger the perk is much too low for that power bump. With this change, a slug shotgun with Adagio will be less of a monster in PvP, but will still be able to get headshot kills at greater ranges with the perk active. They've reduced the damage bonus for shotguns specifically from 30% to 20%, and I think that's PvP only. We'll see.
That'll affect the video that Fallout did last week that you
Absolutely.
highlighted. Yeah, unfortunately.
But that's next season. You can still play with this.
That's 4 weeks' time. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, right here. So for right now, Slug Shotgun with Adagio, the Soros one, you want to look to have that for this season, and then chuck it. Bonds! Icarus Grip will now grant airborne effectiveness stat instead of its previous airborne accuracy penalty scaler. Removed airborne accuracy scaler now grants plus 15 airborne effectiveness stat. Adept Icarus Grip now grants plus 15 airborne effectiveness stat and plus 5 handling. So what's the downside? Usually these Adept mods have a plus and then a down. Oh.
No,
wait.
Some of them do and some of them don't.
Oh, really? Fair enough. So a Warlock with this can go, to 135%?
No, it's capped at 100. They went over that earlier.
Yeah, I know they did, but just it's ridiculous. These numbers keep getting higher and higher. Wait! More weapon talk? Please, Demon. Educate.
Oh. Well, the following isn't all about weapon tuning. We felt it important to bundle the following with the mega twab of upcoming Sandbox information to keep players like you in the know. Just before last season ended, we announced a list of weapons that would be rotating out of Destiny 2 activities with a little time to spare. Some of these weapons could be seen as powerhouses in previous Sandbox metas, while others were just happy to be included. Next season, and the season after, will be no different. In an effort to keep the loot pools from overcrowding as we continue to develop and release sweet new pieces of gear, we'll have a handful of weapons from the Iron Banner, Nightfalls, and Trials of Osiris rotating out at the start of Season 17. We're also including a list of weapons that will be rotating out at Season 18 in hopes of giving you a full season to target anything that you might be missing from your collections. Leaving the loot pools at the beginning of Season 17, so that again is May 24th. Whew, so you've literally got the next Iron Banner. And that'll be in about 2 weeks' time, roughly, I guess. I think we've got one in the middle of Guardian Games. So one more week to collect these from Iron Banner is the Occluded Finality Sniper Rifle and the Finite Impactor Hand Cannon. You have the next month to get the Nightfall weapons, the Comedian Shotgun and the Palindrome Hand Cannon. Trials of Osiris, again, you have the next month to get the Shiro's Wrath Submachine Gun and the Messenger Pulse Rifle. So if you want those, now's the time to get those. They will be leaving the loot pool. Then in Season 17, you will have the Peacebond Sidearm because they will be leaving in Season 18, and the Archon's Thunder Machine Gun. The Nightfalls will be losing their Plug 1.1 Fusion Rifle and the Hothead Rocket Launcher. And Trials of Osiris will be losing the Eye of Soul Sniper Rifle and the Summoner, the returned Auto Rifle that's only just returned this season. So only around for 2 seasons. The Summoner Auto Rifle will be leaving at the beginning of Season 18, which means only 4 weeks now, and then 3 months of next season, and then it's gone again.
Peroty, get on it!
He's on it. He's all over it. Note, Season 18 is a way out. Weapons included in our planned rotation are subject to change, so if Peroty moans about it enough, the Summoner may stick around. While we don't have any firm plans to share, we can note that the team is aware of feedback surrounding the weapon rotations and availability and looking at opportunities in future to address it. To keep expectations in check, this is likely a longer-term investigation, so don't expect too much news over the next season. Once we have more information, we'll be sure to let you know. So stay tuned for announcements on weapon rotations, info, and new weapons coming to each activity. Ooh, there's still more twab to go. Hope you've kind of had your toilet break. Should we have a toilet break for people? Let's have a toilet break for people. We'll wait.
Yeah. Anyway, no, there's like a bunch of ads.
My master made me this collar. He is a good and smart master, and he made me this collar so that I may talk. Squirrel!
Anyway,
Oh dear.
it's ridiculousness.
So if Peroty was here,
Hmm.
he would be taking this whole section now. We would have handed it over to him. We'd have been having our drinks. We'd have been relaxing,
Oh, yeah.
spending time with family. But
Taking a
no,
nap. Yeah.
he's not here. So one of us is going to have to go through it.
Well, that's
And
because
that's-
I've turned off the ads entirely. That's why.
I will probably have to go through it with it for you.
Well,
So with weapon
sure.
talk out of the way, let's shift back to some near-term conversations and happenings in Destiny 2. Well, in near term, we do have some tuning abilities for exotic armor in the Crucible as well. So next Tuesday, April the 26th, probably around the time that you're hearing this, Destiny 2 Hotfix 0.0.1.1 will become available for the following changes. Axiom Bolt's base cooldown increased from 91 seconds to 1.52. Titans, there is a build I'll talk about later for that.
Yeah.
Titan's Barricade base cooldown from the Bastion Void aspect equipped is now 82 seconds, up from 53. This matches recharge rate of the Warlock's Rift.
Yep.
The Offensive Bulwark can now provide 60% less bonus grenade energy regeneration in PvP game modes. Whisper of Chains now provides 15% bonus damage resistance against players when near a stasis crystal, down from 25%. Unchanged versus PvE targets. The Renewed Grasps. While equipped, Renewed Grasp increased the base cooldown of the Dustfield grenades from 62 to 152 seconds. The outgoing damage penalty applied to player victims in the Renewed Grasp Dustfield grenade reduced from 50 to 20%. And damage unchanged in PvE targets. And stay tuned to the full patch note article, planned release alongside the hotfix. There's probably a few minor things in there.
God, they really hit the hunters hard, man. God damn.
Well, I mean, I'll give you a quick preview. In our tips, tricks, guides, and builds this week, Destiny Fun Police had a fantastic build, which is only going to be viable. I guess it's still going to be viable after this patch on the Tuesday. But at the moment, with a Titan, he can get like Axiom bolts within 25 seconds. And if he equips the chest piece, the Armamentarium, where you get 2 Axiom bolts with a Void 3.0 build, and you build into this, he gets 2 grenades back in less than 25 seconds. That is ridiculous. He's just constantly throwing Axiom bolts out as a Titan. That's something you don't want to see and don't really want to be playing against.
Yeah.
But I can understand why they're doing these changes. Check the show notes for the video anyway.
All right, why do you think? Do you really think the neural grasp change is from 62 to 100? That's a 90-second increase, dude. That is a minute and a half increase.
But that is the base cooldown. So they're saying that you can still spec into making it come down even further. But that is just the
I
base.
understand that, but a 90-second increase, dude. 90. Yeah. You Titans went from 53 to 82. We went from 62 to 152.
Got to build into these things, my friend. Build into these things.
That's not an excuse, man. That is a hard hit, Bungie. Damn. You didn't tweak it. You blew it out the goddamn water, man. Holy damn. Anyway, Gambit Labs, Moat Thief.
You've got to do your best Peroty impression here. You have the advantage on this because I don't speak American. Don't go all Southern on me, because I know you're thinking I'm going to put on my Southern accent. Go on.
No, I'm thinking I can't mimic Peroty. Peroty's Peroty.
Do your Southern accent, then just give the people what they want.
All right, fine. I'll give the people what they want. I can do this. Looking next week, we also have our second run at Gambit Labs coming into play. Invasion swaps went off well, giving us great data and feedback on Moat Duncan. Invasion cadence and primeval healing in a world where you invited opponents into your playing field when hitting certain thresholds. For this edition of Labs, we'll be experimenting with Moat Thieves starting on April 26th. Not much has changed since our original Labs announcement. Fundamentally, the original concept of the Invader Guardian Let's try that again. Fundamentally, the original concept of the invader was a guardian as a taken terror, overpowered and dangerous. Something new to have to fight. While that is very compelling, we don't believe it's the only compelling invader fantasy. We believe the sneaky moat thief is worth exploring too. Normal moat drain from having 2 blockers is in fact disabled. Instead, every second the invader is invading, 1 moat drains directly from your bank to the invader's bank. Keep in mind, invaders need to be near the bank in order to drain moats. This won't be too much of a hide and seek affair. Do you prioritize clearing the active front of enemies, or do you help your teammates address a beefed up Titan relaxing behind the red barricade, looking to steal some of your hard-earned emotes? Hard-earned moats. Hunters may throw a smoke bomb or 2 in the effort to jam up your radar, while warlocks could throw a strategically placed well of radiance directly above your bank, making it easier to fight alongside the taken blockers that they just sent over. We're looking forward to your feedback, and we'll be watching the conversation through the week. Then we have some more Prime Awards right here. We have, just yesterday I was discussing some fun Ghost Shell options with a friend, seeking a new look for their companion. While it started with the question of what looks best for the Butterbark shader, it led to some fun commentary on cosmetic rewards in Destiny 2. Funny enough, this little Ghost Shell happens to be part of this month's Prime Rewards drop. Don't know what I'm talking about? Well, here's a quick summary. Sign up for Prime Gaming, link to your Bungie Net account, and the sweet, sweet cosmetics listed below. And get the sweet, sweet cosmetics listed below. With more rewards coming in future months. Seems simple, right? Well, it is. Line up for this month, we have a Killer Sparrow, a few ships jammed into one, and a fun little dance to do in the tower. You get the tip of the spear exotic sparrow. You get the tail end exotic ship. You get the drop pod legendary ghost shell, and a taunt dance legendary emote. If you'd like a bit more information on Prime Gaming, check out our support article for more details.
I think they printed that wrong because it's an exotic ghost shell, the drop pod. It's not a legendary. I definitely know because I've got one and it's definitely exotic. Ooh. So, what is your quest? Our quest is to give you all the information in the longest podcast possible. But just to keep things short and sweet, there is known issues and things that Peroty normally goes over, which I'll go over just now. So, contest mode emblem grant. Players who complete the Vow Disciple raid during the 24-hour extension of contest mode have been granted their day at the Pyramid Triumph and the Cleaver emblem. Qualifying players will need to visit their postmaster and claim the lost package to unlock a day at the Pyramid Triumph, and claim this triumph will then drop the Cleaver emblem. Quest Archive. Players who are missing quests or are attempting to reacquire previously abandoned quests should visit the Quest Archive in the Tower Courtyard, located next to the postmaster, down the side of the steps. From here, players can reactivate or reacquire quests and abandoned quests organised by quest type. Players who are unable to locate their abandoned quests at the Quest Archive should also verify that they have checked all other vendor pages of the vendor pages who originally provided the quests. So, go do a Sherlock Holmes, basically. Hotfix 4.0.1.1. It will release next Tuesday, April 26th, and it will go live from 9 a.m. PDT, that's 1600 UTC. Destiny 2 maintenance will begin 9:45 a.m. and 16:45 UTC. Destiny will be brought offline, so you will have 45 minutes to finish what you're doing before it's completely turned off. In those 15 minutes, 10 a.m. and 1700 UTC, Destiny 2 Hotfix 4.0.1.1 will begin rolling out across all platforms and all regions. And then an hour later, at 11 a.m. and 1800 UTC, Destiny 2 maintenance will complete. And again, take that with a grain of salt, because depends on what's in there. It sometimes will break and not break and things like that. Below is a list of issues that are scheduled to be resolved in the hotfix. The Summoner Auto Rifle from Saint 14's Reputation Rewards is missing a Masterwork slot, so they're going to deal with that. The Lightblade and Birthplace of the Vile Grandmaster Nightfalls did not count towards the completion of the Total Conquest Triumph. In Gambit, the Primeval Shield sometimes did not successfully drop after defeating the envoys. And then they have a full list of other known issues, but they do want to let you know that the renewed grass damage buff does not always function within a Dustfield Grenade area of effect. The Sweet Sorrow auto rifle has an overly bright muzzle flash. Words in text may display vertically. This can be resolved by restarting Destiny 2, and the Luminous muzzle flash is bright compared to other hand cannons. So that's known issues that they're going to deal with at some point. Then we have some movies of the week. We have some art of the week. If you're interested, go and check those out. And I guess that's it for the massive TWAB. There's so much to kind of pick apart over the next couple of weeks and listen to other people go into how this is going to affect gameplay and affect the game, basically. But what I'm getting from this overall is that they want people to build into certain gameplay and have different armors, different weapons for different things. Again, Bungie, if you want people to have different builds and different weapons and different things, we need more vault space. You cannot run 3 characters and expect us to have different builds for PvE and PvP. It's not going to work. I'm not a one character game person. I run all 3. I have fun with all 3. I'm limited by what I can actually achieve in the game. It needs to be done. Respawn's with me on this one, and even Peroty's on this one, even if he's not here to kind of back me up.
What are you putting my name in?
More vault space.
Oh, absolutely. 100%.
There you go. I'm saying with more builds and more things that they want us to kind of specialize in, you will have to kind of
give us vault. Even without forget having a reason. We have 1,000. We don't need reasons, Bungie. Just give us more vault space. You know? I mean, he's trying to sell you into giving us more vault space. We don't need to sell you anything. We deserve it. We've had 500 slots for 4 years. Up the ante, bruh. We have weapons, we have armor, we have 3 classes, and we have all these different builds, which are constantly changing. We have to have weapons that can accommodate for this changing metas and all this other BS. Give us friggin' vault space! Sorry.
Indeed. And I guess next week's TWAB will probably cover the upcoming Guardian games that we've got for the rest of the season. Then we have the subclasses that are going to be reworked the following season, season 17. So we've got a few other meaty TWABs coming, which are going to be exciting to look forward to, and any other changes and details on the new season that's coming up as well. So there's a lot to look forward to in the next couple of weeks. But I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, I really haven't heard enough from Respawn today. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to give him more time to speak in his Respawn's Report Roundup.
Respawn's Report Roundup. I gotta pull that thing up. There it is. There it is. No, that's the box of shame. We don't want to go in there. That's definitely not safe for work. Report Roundup. There we go. Okay. Here we go. From Paul Tassi, just realized no Gallahorn nerf. Yeah, I don't see a downside to that. Nate, N-A-H-T-E, Ethan. I'm gonna. You're Nate, I guess. Why do I have to build into being able to hit my shots while airborne? That feels ridiculous. DMG says if you have good aim, you'll continue to hit shots while in air. If you need the help of aim assist, you can build into it. Adding trade-offs will hopefully bring more variety into builds and strategies. And just as an FYI, Nate, have you ever tried to shoot a gun in real life while jumping? You lose accuracy, bud. Just saying.
But you're breaking his immersion.
Immersion, nothing. That should increase the immersion. You know, you having the same accuracy on the ground or in air should break immersion because that's ridiculous and unrealistic. I completely understand the need to nerf stompies. Okay, first of all, QJ, you suck. And don't mind that they did. However, the way it is nerfed was bad. Okay, hate you a little less. Stompies boost your jumping capability, but now jumping becomes a massive detriment. Massive identity crisis exotic now. Anti-synergistic. DMG says, don't forget that Stompies increase sprint speed and slide distance. Understand the conflict here? Do I jump and lose out on aim assist? We hope players use this mobility tool to get around the map rather than a piece of every single PvP engagement to force their air combat. He still didn't adjust the anti-synergistic nature of it. Kuche's got a point, you know? And not only... I still think the way that not only is it the only negative, it is negative by a massive, massive amount. If you wanted to give a negative jump, Bungie, I don't agree with it. I guess I can kind of understand it, but a negative 50 is completely asinine. You went way too far on that, and you're not going to change my mind. I don't even use the Stompies, and I think that is disproportionately nerfed. Super Say, can you get someone on a podcast to help explain what it all means? I don't understand like 60% of it. Ha 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 ha. Hey, Super Say, there's a podcast called Two Titans and a Hunter. I got you, bro. DMG says, looking at opportunities before launch to have some breakdowns from the team. Or you can listen to Two Titans and a Hunter. Somebody reach out to this guy on Twitter. I don't want to do it because I don't want to self-promote, but right here, Super Say at Super Say You. Let him know about Two Titans and a Hunter. We got you covered, bro. Serrated Viper. When will we see information on upcoming changes to the Iron Banana out of curiosity? He says, DMG says, closer to season 17 launch. Stay tuned for details. Fallout did a really good video on the problem. Yeah, he did. That's where I got my twab info from. Griffin01, but we're not promoting Fallout, we're promoting us, my dude. Anyway, I'm not sure about 180 HC. I'm not sure 180 HC got enough to give them
hand cannons.
Oh, fair enough. I'm not sure 180 hand cannons got enough to give them a use case. Any further possible plans for 180s? They felt pretty ignored for so long. I can't say any plans are locked in, but more than happy to pass the feedback along. Well, that's what I was saying earlier. 180 hand cannons intrinsically have a lot more stability. And if stability is going to be tied to in-air accuracy, I see those coming back next season. That's what I was saying earlier. Taking Obsidian says, will Xenophage be viable again? I had so many faults of it not shooting on time when it was at 90 RPM. A DMG says, currently on vacation. That's for you to decide once these changes ship. Personal opinion, maybe. I'm still using linears in a lot of content. Dolomite Dawes.
Yeah.
Dolomite Dawes? That guy.
Yep.
Regarding glaive melees, if they're a void weapon, why can't they get the elemental shield break? Also, glaive melee should work with an arc melee super helmet mod, correct? DMG says, 12 broke it down a bit, but the team doesn't want to give an attack from a weapon with unlimited ammo at specific damage type. Could lead to some nasty balance issues. Well, they said it does kinetic damage. They said it does kinetic damage as an unpowered melee. So as such, I think if you have a kinetic weapon mod maker on your helmet, it should drop motes. Or not mod maker, mote maker on your helmet. It should drop motes when you kill with a glaive melee. Whatever. Where are we at right now? Tony Stark. Big fan. Ideology behind increasing almost tripling some cooldowns in PvP because of... Ideology behind increasing almost tripling some cooldowns in PvE because of PvP. Also, the glaive buffs seem to be underwhelming besides the Titan exotic one. DMG says, in some cases, cooldowns cannot be separated between PvE and PvP. While the team is doing more to avoid hitting PvE with PvP tuning, it's not always possible. That is a lie. You guys said that you can fine-tune things in PvE and PvP. Don't go back against it now. Raven Graves says, will there be any more changes to PvP in response to those rage quitting during a match or quitting/leaving early in a match? And will they be for both competitive and non-competitive PvP modes? DMG again says, it's possible in the future, give me more details. At this time, players lose rewards and post-game rep gains from quitting in all PvP activities. Quitting multiple times can lead to in-game suspensions. Outrider. Hey Dylan, will scavenger mods still work in Gambit? Or just not anymore due to the hybrid PvP PvE playlist? Thanks for the info. Scav should continue to work in Gambit, but I'll triple check with the team. Take a drink. InFreak, hiatus till June, says, I'm mostly just nitpicking here because for the most part it's really good stuff, IMO. DMT, Lawrence, and controller last words still feel like major problems, and I don't think the body shot damage for Lawrence is going to be enough. Any aim assist changes coming for these? DMG says, none planned for Season 17, but we'll keep gathering feedback and passing it up to the team. Take a drink. There's a lot of stuff going on. Tony says, will the team consider reverting the slide nerf for primaries only? We can't build into that. There are definite advantages and disadvantages to sliding corners with a primary. DMG says, can't make any promises, but can say that it's been a topic of discussion in playtests. We'll be watching feedback data and getting hands-on once all of these changes are live. Stay tuned for future tuning twabs. Take a drink. DMG replying to DMG. We don't want shotgun changes to ultimately shift usage directly to fusions, creating a new problem child of range/ease of use. Each archetype is getting tuned down a bit, and in case of fusions, rebalanced to push more focus to primary weaponry. DMG also says, definitely understand the confusion here. Shotguns do own a large portion of that usage chart. While the fusion changes look a bit rough on paper, I've still been having a good time with them in playtesting. Looking forward to your thoughts once changes are live. AJ says, I was actually expecting, perhaps foolishly, that this TWA would mention the full auto settings in addition we've been told to expect. Any word on that? I can't use Outbreak and some other exotics without hurting my wrists until it's added, and it didn't come with Witch Queen. DMG says, I don't have any specifics just yet. This will likely be a Season 18 or later change as we want to ensure appropriate time across Sandbox. You promised full auto, give us full auto. Anyway, across Sandbox, UI, UX, and more teams to get the feature out. While it may seem easy to add a button, it really can present 1,000 problems to address. But you promised it to us. You said we was going to have full auto. You promised us full auto. You gave us a mod to hold us over so full auto was the thing. Give us full auto. Period. Full stop. Live. Pinjin. I really hope I said your name right, dude. Mulligan seems like a wasted perk on primaries as we have infinite ammo. What brought these changes? Double perks on strike weapons are amazing, but their utility is blocked by locked loadouts. Could this see a change? Amazing read. I hope you enjoy your time off. Mulligan reloads your weapon as you shoot, kind of like a triple tap. No reload required. Even with infinite ammo, getting those few extra bullets after missing shots can make or break for a kill. Replying about locked loadouts. No current plans for change, but happy to pass up any feedback. I don't think you need to take a drink because he addressed the first part of his question. Jay overrated. Me reading this twab, trying to understand the new flinch and airborne effectiveness stat. It shows some guy from the office stressing. Michael from the office stressing. DMG04 says, we've added an airborne effectiveness stat that you can build into through weapons, exotics, and mods. Less air stat equals less aim assist when in the air. If you're skilled with your aim, you might not need as much aim assist. If you'd like to have better aim while taking fire from opponents, you might want to build into stability and resilience. If you want to focus on other things entirely, you totally can too. Take a drink. This right here, Guardian Games. Armor. Warlock is okay. It's pretty okay. Hunter. Huh. I'm getting. I'm really getting like dollar store Power Rangers style vibes from this guy right here. I mean, I dig the glow on the pants. I dig the glow inside of the hood. That's cool. But like just the look of the overall armor, I don't know. I have to try it with different shaders. Out the box, I'm not a fan. And Titans, meh. All right, moving forward. Guardian Games 2022. We got some sparrows here. We got that guy. It's kind of alright. And then we got this guy. It's also kind of alright. And then we got this guy. It's also kind of alright. There you go. Sparrows. Ghost shells. This actually kind of looks cool. It's a ghost shell with sponsorship like NASCAR, and it's got all kinds of different sponsors all over the ghost shell. That's actually pretty cool. I don't get the whole neck strap thing here. Kind of meh. And then a trophy ghost shell. That's very nice. Guardian Games 2022 torch rewards of the new Guardian Games playlist. Medallions and class rank and earn exclusive rewards. It's say when it starts? No. Warm up in the training playlist, get buffed, and strive for the highest of scores in the competitive playlist. Complete Guardian Games activities and dunk your gleaming medallions to the tower to help your class climb to the podium. And look, we have a new submachine gun.
Starts the 3rd of May.
Starts the 3rd of May, thank you. However you play, you'll be unlocking exclusive rewards and helping your class secure bragging rights for the rest of the year. Anyway, the Vex Mythic class is getting a Guardian Games skin, and quite honestly, it's better than the ones that it already has, in my opinion. Oh, hold on, we got emblems? Oh, we got emblems. Ew. Alright, that does not get Respawn seal of approval. That's terrible. Looks like Bungie has removed the prismatic exotic shader and alluring looks bundle from the database with yesterday's update. Cool. I guess. I don't know. You should have got it while I was here, I suppose. Wish there was more of an apology for the emblem that was impossible for me to get because of this BS. Missing emails. There's some lingering issues about players not getting emails, even though the troubleshooting steps we have listed here. Team is still looking into the issue and actively tracking the problem head on. Yes, Bungie, I still haven't gotten my email for that really badass emblem for buying stuff in your store. Anyway, Cosmo says, sorry if this issue affected you. Team is working on it. Well, the team has been working on it for 2 seasons. No, they haven't. It's been 1 season. I'm salty. I want the emblem. Hurry the hell up. And that does it for that stuff. Yeah. Yeah, so, and that's it.
I've got some tips, tricks, guides, and builds.
Yes,
if you're interested.
I'm definitely interested, especially with all these nerfs. What you got?
So I have a few tips, tricks, guides, and builds for you this week. We have Fallout Plays. He's made the ultimate anti-flinch build, which is a little bit... it's all right for the rest of the season. Let's just put it like that. It's going to be okay for the next couple of weeks. And then everything gets tipped on its head and higgledy-piggledy. We're in Mary Poppins now. Topsy-turvy. He also has a What Can Break a Titan bubble out, the Witch Queen edition. So this is going over all the supers, or the Void 3.0 supers that have now been updated, and some weapons, and showing you what you can tank whilst being in a bubble and what you can't. Really informative. Cheese Forever has 2 videos this week that I've selected. The Infinite Stun Caretaker after the patch, because Bungie like to patch these things, and Cheese likes to throw another spanner in the works, so check that one out. And also the Sparrow Cheese Caretaker Infinite Time glitch. You can cheese the Caretaker with a Sparrow and give yourself infinite time. So check that out if you are still trying to do the raid. That may help you, may not help you. Another good one this week, which I'm definitely going to go and try over the weekend, is the Most Broken PvP Titan Void 3.0 build from Destiny Fun Police. So this is with Axiom bolts on a Titan using the Armamentarium, which gives you 2 grenades. And the way he's got it set up with the Void 3.0, by dropping a shield or even going into a bubble, it recharges the grenades super fast. So with putting different mods and things on your arms and that, this is, I mean, he was getting his grenades back within like 20 seconds, and this is both his grenades. This is 2 grenades in PvP. This is an insane build, and I can't wait to try it. So go and check that out. We have Grey Gaming has done a Peace of Mind versus Darkest Before pulse rifle comparison. So if you are looking at maybe farming either one of these, because one of them is from the dungeon and one of them is from just this season of doing the PsyOps Battlegrounds, then there is a little bit of farming involved and a little bit kind of, if you're going for the Peace of Mind, there's a lot of leveling up to actually unlock the God Roll version of this. Or if you're going for the Darkest Before, it's a lot of farming of the end boss in the dungeon. But Grey Gaming's got a cool video going over the pluses and minuses of both pulse rifles. So check that out. And to finally round us out, from me anyway, this week, we have Marshix's I ran 100 lost sectors, and this is what I got. Really informative, really insightful. He didn't do it all on one day, but it just gives you a good overview of, if you are looking at trying to do the lost sectors, what his comparison is. And I mean, he asked a few of his friends what they were getting, like how many times they were running a lost sector before they actually got an exotic to drop. So if you're curious how many lost sectors you do need to run on legendary, because he did this on legendary, go and check that video out. It's worth a watch. Don't forget, we have our Throne World guides. So we have Dato's Val the Disciple raid guide part 1 and 2. We have Jarv's bonus raid chests. Fallout Plays has a guide for you. Kakis HD has a guide for you. Cheese Forever, all the cheeses that he's kind of come up with, I'll make sure that they're updated. All the raid weapons, if you're looking at going in there to get a specific raid weapon, Azracross has got you covered for those. We have the Vox Obscura missions, any guides on those. We have the Lucent Moths, if you're looking to get those in the Throne World, 360 Game TV. Sneaky Beaver has challenge guides. Ibontis has solo legendary mission guides, if you're looking at trying to do those. So there's so much in there. Go and check that out if you're still doing the Throne World stuff. I still am on like my old characters, so there are still stuff that can help you out there. Plus, we have, as I said last week, we have our Grandmaster Nightfall tips. So we have guides from Ikajin, Azracross, Above, and Sneaky Beaver on all 6 of the Nightfalls, if you're trying to do the Grandmaster versions of those. And don't forget, you have to be 1575 to actually get into those. And I believe it's 1600 is the power cap, but you are capped 25 below it, unfortunately. So you can be higher if you like, but your light and your power is capped at 1575, but you have to be 1575 to get into it. And I guess that's it. That's everything I can think of. So I guess I can't really hand back over to Peroty as he's not here. So I'm going to thank you all for joining us. Your Titans are Peroty, Nitedemon, and No One Respawns in real life. Your Lost Scribe is not Arth, who's not here. He's apparently shopping. What a day to do shopping, hey? Not Arth. You can email the Two Titans at twotitansandahunter@hotmail.com. You can contact us on Twitter at twotitans_hunter. We're on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Two Titans and a Hunter. You can find all your favourite Guardians dancing in the tower, collecting motes, well, only Peroty really, and playing lots of PvP to get their glory rank up. You can listen to the show on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, Audible lovers, you know, and anywhere else that fine podcasts are sold. Watch the show on YouTube. And Respawn's out of tips for his Titan now, so we don't need any more tips for that. But
So
don't
using
forget,
the same one. Yep.
don't forget, we have a contest running, and this is going to be your last week to enter the contest. So submit your clips of your epic failures in Destiny. So send them in our Discord. You can upload them to wherever. You can send us a link, email, Twitter. Just contact us. Just submit a video. We haven't got enough videos. We need more videos. You've got one more week to do this. You have up until Saturday, April 30th. So next week will be your last time to submit it. You can join us on the Discord at discord.frozen. That's frozen with a 0 instead of an O. .party. And until next week, goodbye.
Deuces!
Two Titans and a Hunter, a Destiny 2 podcast.
As a little fun fact, Demon, when the podcast started, there was a stream. There's a lot happening in my stream I don't understand right now. And apparently there was a contest, a questionnaire. It says, do you think the stream will be longer than 4 hours? Yes or no? And you can place your bets or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And I clicked no. I was like, there's no way it's going to be 4 hours. And as just pointed out, it was 4 hours on the dot when you started your tips and tricks. I was like, what the